7 on the dot.
Hello. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the October 20th, 2025 meeting of the Trenton Planning Commission. Excuse me. If everybody would please rise for the pledge of the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Planning Commission Chair Nichols,
Here.
Mr. Leisure,
Here.
Mr. Mello,
Here.
Mrs. Harris, Mrs. Bishop. We have 3 present.
Mr.
Here.
Bishop.
Mr. Bishop, sorry.
Entertain a motion to excuse Mr. Bishop and Ms. Harris from tonight's meeting.
I'll make it.
I'll second the motion.
We got a first by
Mr. Mello?
Yes.
Seconded by Mr. Leisure. Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
Mr. Leisure,
Yay.
Mr. Mello,
Yay.
passes 3-0.
Next on the agenda is approval of minutes of our previous meeting of September 15th, 2025. Anybody have any questions or comments about the minutes?
Yeah, I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Huh?
I was in hospital, so I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't see anything wrong.
Okay. I'll make a motion we approve.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Second motion from you, Mr. Leisure.
Yay.
So roll call is Mr. Leisure,
Yes, I'm sorry, yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
and Mr. Mello.
Abstain.
Okay.
Agenda item number 1 is conditional use permit for Duke Energy. Mr. Brick.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Today is my very first Planning Commission meeting with the City of Trenton. I've been employed for about 5 weeks now, so great to see everybody. We do have a commission meeting tonight, clearly, regarding a Duke Solar Farm conditional use application. So I do have a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation for the audience and the board. So we'll get started with that, and then after we get done with this, we'll go on to some other agenda items here. But basically, the Duke Solar Farm encompasses multiple contiguous parcels along Pearson Road, Wayne Madison Road, and Allen B. Shepherd Street. Each parcel has a direct frontage on a public right-of-way. Basically, it abuts a street. All parcels meet minimum frontage area and dimensional standards under the Trenton Codified Ordinance. And parcels are under unified ownership and function as a single principal public utility use. And it is fully consistent with the city's zoning provisions. This is the project location. So if you got a letter in the mail, you live X amount of feet away from one of these parcels. So when we determine how we do the notifications, we bring the parcel up, we put a radius around that, and it produces a mailing list, and that's how we notify our residents who are in X amount of feet of the parcels being subject to change. So that's what we have as far as location in the city. Another thing we look at is called adjacent zoning. So we need to look at what is the zoning around that parcel. So the red dotted line encompasses the project area. So anything around that we take a look at for additional zoning regulations, maybe a buffer or a landscape. So when we break that down for the city of Trenton, it is a lot of industrial and then residential across the street, and then industrial, and then residential as well. So I can go back to that. We can see to the east right there is your Pearson homes. So that looks like it's R2s and maybe some R4s. I can't tell with the color changing here. And then around that to the north, we have some additional zoning districts as well. When you see everything to the south of the red dotted line, that would be gray. That is township zoning. We didn't pull that color coding data, but we do know by looking at their zoning standards or zoning maps that they have the following residential and industrial located around the site as well. So this is a unique application in the fact that the city has a conditional use standard for solar farms, for solar capacity type operations. And in our code, under 1258.17, it directs us to look at their application, their conditional use permit applications for many faucets against our city code. We can see it ranges from off-street loading, off-street parking and loading areas to noise, to even the site plan review that's up behind me right here. So again, this is a pretty comprehensive review. It did take quite some time to get it done. There is a full packet that we give the planning commission members that have the appendixes in here for the compliance checklist. So those are available online if you got a chance to look at those. So this is the proposed site plan. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to start reading some stuff right here. I got it here, so I want to revisit this image here in a little bit. But pursuant to 1258.17, solar energy systems are permitted as a conditional use within industrial districts subject to planning commission review to ensure compatibility with surrounding land uses and protection of public health and safety and welfare. All proposed, the ordinance also, when I say the ordinance, it means 1258.17, the ordinance establishes section. The ordinance outlines criteria for addressing location, height, setbacks, glare, screening, fencing, and decommissioning. All proposed equipment and arrays comply with 1258.17B. Panels, racking systems, and inverter equipment are not inhabitable and remain below the 15-foot height limit permitted for accessory installations. Arrays of fencing maintain at least a 50-foot setback from residentially zoned parcels and 20 feet from other industrial zone properties. Vegetative screening and perimeter fencing have been incorporated to buffer the adjoining uses and public right-of-ways consistent with 1217D. A glare assessment and on-site orientation plan confirm that panel reflection will not interfere with nearby roadways or adjacent properties, satisfying 1258.17E. Fencing is proposed at a uniform height of 7 feet, constructed of durable, weather-resistant materials, and coordinated with native vegetation to ensure aesthetic compatibility. The applicant has also provided a comprehensive decommissioning plan under 1258.17G, and that details the procedure for dismantling equipment, removing foundations, restoring the site to pre-construction condition, and providing a financial security to guarantee the completion. These measures ensure the project will remain orderly, reversible, and fully compliant with 1258.17. So when we talk about the screening systems, what they have supplied with their conditional use packet is basically before and after pictures. So these are just some examples that were provided. So we see in the left column, we have a picture of a field. Then the one directly below that shows the installation of the solar panels. And the third one below that shows the vegetative screening. And they provided 3 additional examples for that, as you can see. So if you are located across the street from Pearson, you're going to be seeing a lot of vegetation similar to stuff like this. Additional compliance notes. This has to do with the other sections of the code we have to do, and again, it's much more extensive, but for the purpose of a PowerPoint presentation and the length of the meeting, everything is not on here. Again, it is fully analyzed in our packet that's online. But the lighting preserves visibility, layout preserves visibility at intersections, screening outside the 25-foot right triangles. Solar arrays, less than 8.5 feet. Setbacks exceed code requirements. Fencing and vegetative buffers provide year-round screening and blending with the surroundings. Access drives ensure safe all-weather entry for service and emergency vehicles. No permanent lighting proposed. Temporary lighting will be fully shielded. And I want that to be an important note to this review. Normally, we would require a photometric study, and that is basically how much your light pollution goes onto other properties. But since there's no permanent lighting installed, it's just going to be temporary lighting for when you have emergency measures they got to fix. So there will be no 24-hour, 7-day-a-week on bright lights. So therefore, we did not have to have them submit a photometric plan. However, we did have them do a noise study. So we do have the results of that. That is located also in the actual packet, not in its entirety. The appendices that were submitted with this particular application, the noise study, the decommissioning plan, the site plan, these are massive documents. I want to say they total around 300 or 400 pages. So to put those up all online was kind of difficult. But I can, if you email me, I got my cards here, we can definitely share a Dropbox or something with you to get those files if you'd like to look at them. But the noise studies boundaries do confirm that they are below 50 dBA, which is the minimum set with 1264.03. And construction is limited to 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and no overnight work, and that satisfies 1264.05. Equipment mufflers meet OSHA, EPA standards, low intensity operations for post-build. And this is classified as a conditional public utility aligned with industrial zoning intent. So that satisfies the requirements of 1256.13. This, like I said, was a very unique review. Historically, how it goes for this type of things is we get the site plan, the planning commission, and the council. But this one just had a lot of subsections that we had to go through, and given the nature of what it is, we wanted to make sure the city was doing its due diligence, given the fact that there are residents right across the street.
Nobody talked to the resident. That would have been due diligence.
Is there anybody here from Duke to speak on this tonight?
We do.
Hi, my name is Clayton Hall. I work with Duke Energy. I'm here with my colleague Brian York, an outside consultant.
Can you step up to the podium, sir?
Sure.
We can get you on Facebook and state your name and all that great stuff again, if you don't mind.
Hi, good evening. My name is Clayton Hall. I work with Duke Energy. I led the application creation for the Wisdale Solar project. I'm here with my colleague Brian York, who leads the infrastructure engagement team at Duke. And I'm here with outside consultant Ben Harvey from Stantec to help create a lot of the studies included in the application. I'm not sure who spoke. Could someone restate the question?
So nobody contacted the residents as far as speaking to us directly. You said you did your due diligence. Due diligence would have been coming across the street from the field that you're about ready to destroy. Talk to us.
Earlier,
The due diligence is in reference to make sure everything complies with city code. The residents within a required distance were notified by mail.
But
That's what these public hearings are for.
Talk to the residents that live there. It's going to have to look at this nonsense for the rest of our time here in Trenton. Now that, to me, that would have been a respectful thing to do.
Well, that's why we
I'm sorry,
have,
I mean, that's just how I feel. If he has more to say, let's listen to what he has
Yeah.
to say.
but, yeah, that's why we have public hearings,
It will.
to
Okay.
give you a chance to speak. Okay. Is there any more information you would like to give us other than what Mr. Bridges?
no more
Supply.
information.
Okay, thank you for being here.
So is he here for questions, or I thought he was gonna talk about what they were doing?
Yeah, we can open it up to comments if somebody would like to ask a question or
So
state a
what's the
comment.
purpose of this
Please,
meeting?
please come up to the podium and state your name and address, please, so we know who we're speaking with.
Can I give you my address? Should I fear for my safety?
I don't know why you would.
We're happy to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
Robert Wilder, I live at 938 Pearson Road.
so you're right across the street.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Directly. And forget what I was gonna ask him. So what's the purpose of this meeting today? Is this going to be gonna happen, not gonna happen, or this is automatically gonna happen?
No, nothing's automatic. This committee basically is responsible for reviewing the application, making sure it complies with our zoning codes, and then we make a recommendation to city council to approve or deny.
So is this going to be up for a vote for the city,
It will be up for a vote of city council.
not a vote of the residents?
No, sir.
So I couldn't really see the picture, the whole picture. It's going all the way to Hamilton Trenton Road?
It's actually going way south than that. We're just looking at the portions that are in the city limits right now. So it's basically we're up for Pearson Road into here, and there's some fields. It kind of comes here. I know I'm the wrong way. Here's our soccer fields, which by the way are not going anywhere. They are staying right there. They're surrounding
now.
soccer fields. I mean, it's a site plan submitted, so
Right.
if they would do that, then that would not be good on their part. But basically, here's Pearson Road, here's the soccer fields, it is stopping right here from what I've seen so far. That I
So it's going, as far as it can, so I guess it's gonna start right there at the tree line on Pearson and the residential, and then it's going to go
starts right here. and
towards,
ends
towards town.
Right there.
So basically goes all the way to the back of our lawn.
All the way over Wayne Mass,
I think, yeah, that's over
Yeah.
like here and stuff, I think.
No, Carmine's right in front, just now.
Yeah, it's directly south of the tree line.
Right.
So the residential homes that are there on Pearson across the tracks, what's,
So the administration, the city side of things, we have a set of codes that we operate in that's approved by the city council. So those are codified ordinances. There is no gray area on our part. It either meets the requirement or it doesn't meet the requirement. So if there is concern about notification or lack of notification, I think that could be addressed maybe at a council meeting, but I mean, like, as far as this goes, I mean, it's blatantly obvious where it's going to go. I do know it is going to go south, but I haven't seen those plans. That is part of, is it gonna go, I thought I saw a whole parcel boundary where it's going south, or is this the extent of it?
This is
Is it
the
big
portion of
portion?
the project
Okay.
in the city of
That's-
Trenton.
yeah.
The
So this is
other-
what we have to go on because it's only within city limits.
So the other portion of it's in the county's, Juris-
Yeah.
the township jurisdiction.
Yes. So forgive me if I'm a little nervous. I don't know where I stand on this position.
You're fine.
I'm new to this, so, basically, the whole point of why we're here is to let the public get a hold of it. This is still labeled a preliminary, so the conditional use, they're looking at approving the conditional use permit application. Once that is approved, a final site plan, I'm assuming, would come back, and that would go to them to review and then to the city council to review. But right now, this is just a conditional use permit application to start the process, to find out, will it fit, will it not fit? So there are more hurdles to go through.
it's gotta be a little closer than that. I was here 6 months ago talking about the same thing, and, or maybe even longer ago, not really sure, and I got the same answer. So we're removed from that meeting where basically you guys said we didn't think it was gonna happen, that we're gonna put it somewhere else, and now we're to this point. So,
I wasn't here for that meeting. I don't know if they've had a meeting on this before. I don't think they have.
yeah, we've talked about this before.
It's been
I've only
discussed.
been here twice,
Well,
that's
it's
the only
been-
reason.
We may talk about the zoning district or something like that, but I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was in February, I believe.
This was first brought up from Duke probably close to a year ago.
Yeah.
Nothing goes quickly with big corporations and cities. I mean, it's a long process no matter what we try and do, it seems like. But it has been discussed before. But this is the start of the official process, basically. They filed a request.
Who filed the request?
Well, Duke files the request, and then basically the city tells them what all reports and such we need, to approve that request. And that's basically what this hearing is for, is to make sure that they've met the requirements for our zoning codes.
Basically, Duke owns all that land there.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have, this, actually, I believe it may still even be in Cincinnati Gas and Electric's name. They've owned it that long. So it's been,
So
I don't know exactly when they purchased it, but it's been as long as I can remember that Duke has owned that property. And it's actually been as long as I can remember that that's been zoned industrial.
So they have all that land around the facility, why don't we put it over there? That's for you.
Why put it across from our houses?
To clear up any confusion, it looked like they probably had a very similar meeting to this, not so much going through the permit application, but establishing that section I told you about, the 1258-17B, that requires us to look at all of the subsequent chapters. That was passed by city council on February 20th of this year. So whenever you do that kind of.
So that was passed, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
That was passed to move forward to this point.
That, yes, it's all, yeah, they changed, they amended the zoning code to have conditional uses for commercial solar
I
farms.
guess I must have misunderstood in that meeting, because I thought that the words, it's probably not gonna go there, it's gonna go somewhere else for spoken. I mean, I know you can read back, and I know it's.
I don't even think, was there even a plan for it at the time when they?
You approved
There was a plan, because they.
Well, what we approved was they approved it for the zoning to be changed.
Right,
But I don't
the
think there was an
survey
actual
for
plan at the
years, and I
time.
know there was a plan for it to go there.
I see.
I talked to the surveyors, and the surveyors said that that's what it's gonna be for. So I know there was a plan, I mean, there was nothing, no other
Well,
plan
they
for it.
needed to change the zoning if there wasn't a plan of what they was gonna do
Yeah.
with it.
Well,
That would make sense.
We didn't change
Do you
the
mind if I-
zoning, we put a conditional use on it,
You,
which basically
he
made
just
put
said they
more.
can change the zoning.
I misspoke, sir. That was my fault.
No, it's
Well, I
been,
mean, the guy reading right here.
I believe it's been zoned industrial all along. We just put a conditional use on it for solar farms. Because there was
So
not
there was
a,
a plan for a solar farm for you to change the zoning for a solar farm, but then you're saying we didn't have a plan. So why did you change it for solar farms if they hadn't already talked to you about a solar farm coming there?
well, it's basically like the same thing with the marijuana shops. Okay? Our commercial districts did not have anything in them referring to marijuana shops. So we had to add that into our codes. This was basically the same thing. We didn't have anything in our codes.
About solar
About
farms
solar
at
farms.
all. No one was even thinking about it. So
Exactly. So
you
we-
turned down marijuana places 10 years ago before they ever thought about making them?
Well, we put a referendum on it for a while till we got more information.
So you didn't know.
They're allowed
but
now.
You knew. So same
But
here, you obviously
You know,
knew.
if you have something new come up that's not specifically addressed in your codes, then you need to address that. Otherwise, it would basically be allowed if it wasn't addressed as a conditional use.
So for future, we can build a UFO building center here because it could be in the future of us getting something. So let's code it in now, so if it comes about, we'll have it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying when new things come up, they need to be added to. the
But I do
codes.
have some questions for the Duke guy on these sound things. From research I'm doing myself about solar farms, two things. The noise, yeah, it's fine for the people that live here in Building 11. But if you live less than 4/10 of a mile, it's an issue. Look at all the studies that come out. So what's your study of noise? From what distance are you, I live 50 feet from where you're doing it, so don't tell me I'm not gonna hear the buzzing of those damn things when you can hear it driving down the interstate in Indiana of the solar farms, you can hear it buzzing then, so don't tell me I ain't gonna hear it. So what distance did you do the study for? Do you know? Do you not know? Well, I mean, what's that safe sound? Are you hearing 50 decibels from the
Property line.
generator? How far out? Did you test that? Further than my house, or did you have the generator in the middle of the field where it's 300 feet, which is recommended for any bereavement between property lines and the first solar panel? So is the first solar panel gonna be 300 feet from my house? No, it's gonna be 50 feet right across the
You
street
could jump out my front door and.
without, between a fence and a bushes. So I mean, there's that, and the heat signature of a solar panel that creates a bigger heat around our property, so then we're paying more electric and all this for these guys to, what are we getting out of it?
What does the
Not
city-
a damn thing.
What does the city get out of it?
They get money, but we don't as
That's
the
better.
homeowner looking at it across the street. Why ain't they doing like in other states where they pay for those properties bill, why, since it's in their front yard? Look at them studies, why aren't you bringing that shit up? Just saying.
Well, from what
Do
I've,
you guys know about that? What do you guys know about the heat signatures, how it changes the heat index and wind channels and all that for a solar field this size? Have y'all looked into that to say, no, we're just building it because we're making money?
Yeah, I have looked into it, actually.
Okay, what's
Do
the
you know how
answers
much, do you
then?
know how high it'll raise the temperature in a heat island?
No,
What the
16
noise
to
level's
16
gonna
degrees?
be from 50 feet? I mean, I'm the one that's gotta listen to it. You don't live there, so you don't give a crap.
well, I do give
You
it.
ain't
Yeah.
gotta look at it
You-
every day when it's,
We're not automatically not on your side.
well,
you know.
I'm just saying, this is the
We're
first
citizens
I've heard
too.
about this, and I've lived here 23 years until I got a letter in the mail, so who's letting the people know this crap?
That letter.
A letter I got a week ago saying, come to this meeting because you live under 400 feet.
Okay.
So
I would
why
think-
wasn't we let know in February they was wanting to put a solar farm right there?
Because there hadn't been an official request applied for.
I would think the city in general should have got a letter, not just the people who live across the road. I was on vacation. The only reason I know is because Brian let me know. I wouldn't have even known about this meeting, to be here to run my mouth.
Because then they can just approve it and we get fucked in the end having to deal with it.
I just don't, well, why would the whole city not get a letter?
Do you really want to spend that much money every time we have a zoning change?
For
We've
something
gotten
like
enough
this,
money in
because-
taxes over
If
the
we
last
do it for
year.
one, we have to do it for all.
It affects more than just the residents that live across the street from it. Let's put it that way.
I agree with you.
Soccer fields are gonna be right there. There are heat zones. That's gonna affect those kids out there playing soccer. So everybody in this city has a child that probably has played there or is going to play there in the future. They know nothing about this. That's why there's so few people here, which is what I'm sure,
They won't.
not to accuse, is what people wanted, certain people. Not saying you guys, maybe certain people.
Actually, you would be totally wrong in that. We've told people, as long as I've been on council, we like having people come to our meetings. We hate sitting up here and seeing an empty chamber.
Initially, in the end of the day, they own the property. I guess they could do whatever they want with it.
Not really.
Especially,
They've already zoned
City
it.
council
That's-
turns it down, they can't.
but if they're gonna get a substantial amount of money from it, they're gonna do it.
They're not turning it down.
They're not
The
gonna
city
turn it
ain't
down.
turning down money.
He said they're not necessarily
What money?
on our side, but if the city's gonna get money out of it.
So what's the, that's the
What's-
thing, what's the
what
purpose
is
of
it-
this?
what-
What is the city or the people who live here getting out of this solar farm?
Well, the city's basically not going to get anything out of it because
So why are we doing it?
it's a public utility. So,
So we have to
Really?
put it right across from us?
yeah,
I mean,
the
why
city's
did
going
we
to,
choose
the
that?
city's going to get very little, if any, financial gain out of it because it's public utility.
Okay, but
Yeah.
why you
Well, it sounds
allow
to
them
me
to
like
put
you
it
guys
inside of
are
where
against
we
it.
live?
It's more complicated than just yes or no.
Because of
Basically-
money, all ends with money,
Well,
for real.
basi-
I mean, I'm not an idiot, I've been in your positions,
Yeah.
I know what it.
Basically, what would happen if we denied this, if their permit meets every one of our ordinance requirements, and we deny it, what would happen is they'll go to Butler County Civil Court, and they'll get a judgment for the court, and chances are, since they met every one of our requirements, that judge would say it's approved.
Okay, so you're guaranteeing
Yeah.
that it's gonna be approved, or we pay for a lawyer out of the city, you just said it out of your mouth.
Yeah, pretty much. To
So,
tell you
this
the
is a
honest-
done deal, no matter what the hell's going on, so why the hell did you have us come
You want this
here?
across the street from your house?
So it's done, you've already figured it's getting done, so why'd you bring us here? Why'd you tell us about it, so you can say, we told you about it, we don't care that we
Because
screwed
we're-
you over.
Because we're required in our ordinances to notify
Yeah, because
anyone
y'all
that
don't
lives
give a
within.
shit about the people that live here, you just care about
You
where
said-
you're at.
You sent out, I bet you sent out less than a dozen letters.
No, it's more than that.
Oh, how? Well, except the people that live in the houses across the tracks and the ones across the road, so maybe you sent out 2 dozen. You're just gonna kick those people out of their houses and bulldoze those houses down, I guess. I don't know what's gonna happen there, but.
It's nobody getting kicked out of their house. Yeah, and there's been a lot of people upset because there's been a rumor going around that the soccer fields were going away. That's simply not true. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure that if the soccer field was gonna go away, you would have had to send it to everybody every resident, I'm sure, that would have had to have been a thing.
So when do
But
they
since it's not,
start
we're not
this
thinking
then?
about the health of the children when they're playing soccer.
When do they start the project?
When do they start actually building?
Yeah.
No idea.
They would have to get.
When do you guys approve this and then they can move forward then? Tomorrow when you vote, or tonight when you say, okay, this is approved, we're going ahead with it, build your shit. So, Mr. Duke guy, when do you guys plan on starting this project? If you're building it, what's the planned start date? We don't get to know that either, just wake up one morning with bulldozers in our front yard while they're building shit?
Is that why we paid?
Well, that's basically
I
the
mean-
same with any building permit. When you issue a building permit, yeah, you don't know exactly when construction's gonna start.
You guys are blowing so much shit, like you don't know none of these
No,
answers.
I'm trying to give you truthful answers.
Then you would have let us know from the get-go that you've already approved it.
We haven't.
Instead, you said, well, if we don't approve it, they're gonna get a lawyer, make us approve it, so okay, it's approved.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you that positively.
You
that's what
already
they-
did? Ain't you the commissioner? Ain't you the one
Well,
that's deciding this crap?
That's basically my opinion of what they would do. I can't tell you for sure what they would legally do.
Okay,
Yeah,
whatever. It's-
I still don't understand why I can't go to a vote. Why
Because in
just
the
you
city-
7 or 6 people get to decide
Who don't live
the
near
fate
there.
of more than just the people that live on Pearson. And like I said, there's a lot of people don't know about this that probably should. You guys would have been catching way more heck. We've been having this in the high school auditorium if it was announced. It should have been plastered all over Trenton Talk, all over anything.
It
It should
has.
have been put on the board out there in front of the city building.
it's been all over Trenton Talk.
I know you guys don't.
So that's the new communication for the city, Trenton Talk?
No,
There's only 100 some people, there's only 100 some people on Trenton Talk.
Okay, that's what they're doing.
no, there's thousands.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Let's give somebody else a chance to speak. We don't,
I do have a few questions. I understand the fact that this is pretty much already decided. I kind of got that when I got the letter. So I'm not here to debate the ethics on that as much. It's just, since we got, was it Clayton? So kind of thing, we had a couple of guys from Duke. I would like to get some information though, if that's possible. Appreciate everybody for showing up. Honestly, I wasn't expecting any kind of a turnout at this point, but I think it's pretty obvious no one's really a big fan of this, especially living off of Pearson. I live at 800 Pearson Road, which is the corner house off of Maple. Now, I sit right there directly in front of that field. Not here to argue with you or point fingers, call people names. But I've got a couple of questions you might actually be able to help me answer, and I might actually be able to build a house to answer. Can you bring me the picture of the before and after photos?
Those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you have a general idea of what is going to be planned for the Trenton area for as far as coverage goes for that fence?
They have submitted a landscape plan. It is all compliant with our code sections.
You know off the top of your head, like what kind of trees are talking
I
about?
don't know that detail, but we can surely
Like
get it for you.
Carvanas?
It's all dead and they've never replaced them, so it's an eyesore. That what we're gonna look at, the eyesore of Carvana trees all the way around it? Yeah, oh, we'll fix it. When? 2 years after we look at it for who's gonna, I mean, are you holding them accountable? Cause you ain't holding Carvana accountable, cause it looks like shit, so who makes them have that easement? The city? And nothing's done to make them keep it up to standard. So who's gonna make Duke keep theirs up to standard when I look across and see dead trees in the solar field?
So, one of my questions was going to be, we're talking about a 7-foot fence that's outlined by the code. I believe was what was stated in the previous slide. So, we talking foliage also, I only got this letter a week ago. I moved in 6 months ago. So I haven't had a chance to review all that documentation. I would like to have a constructive conversation here with everybody and try to find out where we stand. And then we can, as mentioned before, there's going to be a council meeting. We can bring more of our grievances there again. And I'm sure thereafter, I would like to kind of get the information to arm ourselves with that information if at all possible. I don't think anybody in this room wants this to happen, but let's try to find what we got and work with it. So we're talking about a 7-foot fence. I mean, these are young trees, I think that's a tree, might be a bush, I'm not too sure. And I understand that this is probably not Trenton area, or is this a Trenton photos that are?
It's AI generated.
Yeah, this is, that's the street.
So, oh, I see now. I've been a little bit upset maybe with those. So my question is, are we talking about having trees that meet in the code, are these gonna be taller than the fence, or is this gonna be kind of more like shrubbery? And this, I think, might be a better answer for you, since we're only talking about codes, if you know. Are these gonna kind of go above that fence line, or is this kind of just gonna be like shrubbery thing to kind of make it look more presentable?
As you can tell from the images, it is a mixture of vegetation. So you're gonna have some low, some high, as long as they follow what approved trees listing for the city.
What's
they-
that
they
for
can
the
do
city?
it. There's a lot of them, sir, it's all over.
What is it for that specific
It's
area?
all, it's the same list for everything.
So they can put a 2-foot bush in front of a 7-foot fence and the city says, cool.
Well, the point of it is to screen what behind it. So
So-
I don't think that, if you're up close, you can see that, and these are just illustrative examples of what could be used. I don't think it's a definite, this is what it's gonna look like, but the whole point of the landscape vegetation screening is to hide what is behind it. So once you get to a section where it's probably gonna be they're gonna probably more than likely cover that, if not.
I don't
what's
mean to
the
interrupt
point
you
of
at all.
that? Now, as far as height of the fence, these solar panels are only 8.5 feet tall.
Okay, but
So
they're
they're
saying
not,
7-foot
I'm
vegetation
sorry, they're
for
a little
8.5
bit low.
feet solar panels.
I'm sorry?
But that said under 8.5 feet for the solar panels, you just said that. They said they're gonna put a 7-foot vegetation shield up. That means I'm gonna look at a 1.5 foot of solar panels.
No, I was getting ready to backtrack, I misspoke before you jumped in there. They're not 8.5 feet tall, my apologies. They're angled like this, so they're not that tall, the bases are like there. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but
The
it's
slide
nowhere
up
near.
there said 8.5.
It said less than 8.5 feet, because that's the,
8.5
8.5 feet
maximum.
is the max for that code section.
Okay, so if
So that
they
said
do
under
8.5,
8.5
but they're only putting in a 7-foot fence.
They're not doing 8.5. But anyway, the point of the vegetative screening is to hide whatever is behind it. So that is the point of it.
So
If something happens, when vegetation dies, or you can see something, simply call us here at the city building. We have an exterior property maintenance code we can go after, and we can say, hey, you need to maintain
So-
it.
Against
Excuse
Carvana.
me, yeah, so Carvana has these barely covering shrubs, and they've been sitting there for forever.
The difference between this one and Carvana is Carvana does not abut any residential zones. That is the big kicker, because that is descriptive. So when we're talking about all the zoning, and people said, back here at that first meeting, cities change zoning in anticipation of uses all the time. So the reason I wanted to backtrack a little bit, because I think there's a lot of confusion about how we got here. But when we go back to this, we see the purple area is where this could all go. So when you look at, we're gonna change the zoning code, it wasn't changing it for that specific location, it was changing it for the district and what's permitted in that use. So IG, that's an industrial district, they added solar panels to that industrial use. So again, it's not like they know where it's coming, they just know, hey, we anticipate something like this coming down the road, we don't know where it's gonna go, we know it's gonna go somewhere in IG, so we need to change the IG zoning.
The
to allow it.
vegetation screening is for people not to see it, right?
Correct.
That's the whole point that Carvana should have done it, because I can still look at my front door and see that nonsense, which I didn't want in the first place either.
But you don't abut it.
Don't
Your
abut it.
your property's not across from it. So that's the kicker.
200, maybe less than 100
It doesn't
yards.
matter, the code doesn't say like that, if the code says if it abuts. So that means if you are across it or touch it, then that's how that's thinking. If you're 200 feet away from turn over, your property don't touch it, you're not getting notified. I mean, they don't have the same requirements as this guy does because he's close to the resident. They're too far away. There's housing around Carnova.
Well, I
then
mean,
you don't see
I know we didn't have a
something.
say with Carvana, we really don't have a say here, but other than just to get our grievances off our chest, it's gonna happen. And obviously, he doesn't have answers, because he's not answered one question yet.
He don't know, he's not allowed, because he looks it in and he tells them, no, don't answer
Right.
that, so.
Right, I mean, I
He's
don't
the
know.
man that has to answer
I
the
don't
questions.
understand.
He ain't answering crap.
No,
It's
no
not-
one's
not
telling,
answering questions. It's-
anyway, not to answer questions.
He's not supposed
That's
to
a
answer
ridiculous
questions.
comment.
What did he come here for? to tell us
He-
no, I can't answer that?
Right overseas.
He's not the
He
gentleman,
submitted the plan.
he's not the gentleman that's gonna build this thing.
No, but he
He's the,
submitted the,
he's the gentleman that did the paperwork, basically. He did the survey, contracted for surveys such like
so
that.
he don't
Is that
know the
correct?
answer to none of these of what they're gonna put in or
I'm-
what type of fence.
I'm
Is
sure
it
there was a lot more
chain link
people
fence?
involved.
Is it a white privacy fence?
Not a
What are they
chain.
putting in there? That we don't get to know that we've gotta look at it? I mean, a black chain link fence with fiber in it? That's what
Have you
we
seen
need
one
to
in
look at?
person?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Have
going
you
in
seen one in
there.
person?
The solar field?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Is
see
it
the
right
ones out there
next
on
to
Milliken
houses?
Road?
I'm sorry?
Big chain link fence across it, over there in crap, just a big weed field underneath of the solar panels.
I bet they were told it would look good like this too.
It looks really good.
These fences
I
are,
live in Trenton.
the fences are,
Guess I should sell before it gets put in.
the fences are a post and wire system. So you
So
have.
chain link.
No, chain link is chain link. This is a post here, individual wires going like this that are thick. So it's not a chain link, it's going to be black. You won't, if you see in this fence at night, you won't see it. You may see a little bit of it today.
At night, it's day, I'm looking at it.
Again, it's
inside
gonna help
day.
out that it's black, that it is, not white. But it is no like
It's a chain link
7-foot
with barbed wire
vinyl
fence on top, so
privacy.
people can't get into the fence and mess with the solar panels.
Because I
Period.
thought the fencing was supposed to keep animals out of the area. So how's a 3-wire fence keeping deer and other animals out? Consider all the studies about solar farms and going around them. It says they're fenced to keep animals from going in there and screwing stuff up. So now you get a habitat of whatever in there because they're not using the,
It'll be chain link
no, that's
with
what I'm
barbed wire
thinking.
at the top to keep people out, period.
Gentlemen,
I mean, you guys can really get one, like, that's fine. I
That's
just,
good.
I do have like 3 questions, that's all I wanted to
Just-
ask for the most part.
continue.
We already kind of set the tone for this meeting, they're not gonna give us answers.
Yeah.
We've established that.
Just
I'm going to
state
ask a
your
couple
grievance.
anyways, I'd like to stay productive, as I said before.
That's Quay.
So can we, okay, you gotta back up. Clayton, again, I'm not here to fight with you guys. If you can answer any questions based on the paperwork that you submitted and stuff like that, I appreciate it. I don't know, again, I was only given notice a week ago. I don't know the contents of that paperwork, I haven't had a chance to review it, I work for a living. So I understand, yeah, I can see absolutely now I have a chance to breathe and actually look at this. Yes, this is obviously a computer-generated image, general idea. I understand that. So we're not too sure about the height on the shrubbery or how high it would get quite yet until I get a chance to look at the plan on that. I understand. So based on the rendering of this, are we to assume that the angle of the solar panels, the direction they're facing is correct? So if this is Maple here, so this is taken, rendered over top of right across from my house. This is a little turnaround spot the cops like to sit and nab speeders. I am right on the other side of this. So, reason why I took interest in the height of the trees and the shrubbery is because I bought the house 6 months ago. I'm locked in, I can't, whether I want to or not, whether I can afford to, I can't get out. I did, before this came to my knowledge, we started building a nursery for future plans for a family that is going to be in the big room that just happens to now look over a field, which would have been relaxing, that is about to be replaced with panels. That's my emotional input for this right now. So, you know, that looks cute from the roadway, but I would be more interested in seeing taller trees personally for where my house sits. That way my future son or daughter does not have to look out the window every morning and see a solar panel.
You won't do
Yeah, I'm realizing that. So my secondary question was going to be the angling of these. Are we to assume that these are going to be pointed away or generally pointed away from the housing and tilting, because they tilt like this, right?
East-west,
East.
right
So
up
it is going to
against
be
your
pointing
house.
directly
They'll
in
be
my
pointed
Yeah.
24 kids' room.
right in your window.
So, okay, if can you confirm or deny that, or? I know it's a pre-rendering, but
They don't know which way the panels are gonna face and rotate.
it's not an axis. It sits on, it's a 2-point axis. It's not a 4-point for me. It's not going to split the line. I'm not familiar with technology.
It'll be a fixed tilt.
Okay.
it.
But ain't it
Back and
gonna
forth, not
go
side to
from
side.
east to west?
My
It
I
tilts
understand that
east
they
to
follow the
west.
signs.
My understanding is solar panels normally face to the south in this area. If you look at the homes around that they put solar panels on, most of them face south.
Yeah, but the sun don't hit the north, so why is it gonna face the north at any time? The sun rises and it's gonna go east and then it's gonna come west. The panels are gonna shift from shining on everybody's house on Pearson to shining to the back of Lassane.
He's saying that it's a fixed panel.
It's not-
You're telling me it's not
that's
gonna move
fixed.
back and forth?
That's
They move back and forth, they're not, they tilt one way in the morning and the other way in the evening. Y'all don't even know how the panels work.
We're asking the Duke, we just asked you asked the Duke guy, and the Duke guy told you they're fixed.
He just said, it's a fixed panel, but they don't all face just one direction. They're gonna move, ain't they? With the sun, like every other solar panel does?
this is a fixed tilt system.
A fixed tilt system, meaning it's going to tilt
This way,
with
back and
the
forth.
sun.
So do the panels move?
No, they do not move.
So where are they fixed towards? What direction are they facing?
South. They face south.
Okay, then why didn't you say that? We're sitting here asking shit and you didn't answer.
We've submitted information in our application that covers this topic. We've submitted.
Well,
letters
okay, then
studying
why don't
for
he
all
answer
these
it? You
concerns.
should know if
Happy
it's in
to
the application.
speak
The question
to
was
the
directed to
study.
him. I was waiting for it to be over with, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So then my last question, you talk about this is on Duke Energy property, so I assume it's to offset their energy consumption and not directly impact the city's power grid? So we're not gonna see any kind of like energy credits or anything off of that from this, are we?
No.
No, okay. So my last question, then I want to pass off to kind of keep this orderly, is, so technology, mechanics, everything else in between required maintenance, is that going to be Duke's responsibility or is some of that going to fall up to the city? As we mentioned, something about coding and, so who's in charge of maintaining, I don't know who I'm talking, who has to answer, so I'm not trying to put this all on him. I'm just
Okay,
trying
go
to do
ahead.
his job.
You can direct questions to me. That's fine.
Okay, so who's all gonna be in charge, I guess, of the paying for the maintenance? Is that coming out of city taxes or is that Duke?
It's private property. It'd be maintained entirely by Duke.
Okay, and I assume the city code will adhere, hold out to that maintenance and make sure this is actually being maintained to a city coding conduct too, right?
I explain your question again. What was it?
So if things fall into disrepair, it starts to become more of an eyesore than was accepted under the, I forget the exact code,
Sure.
that will be upheld by the city of Trenton then?
Yes.
To make sure that is enforced?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can give you a good example here of that. The little building up on State Street by the substation fell into disrepair 3 or 4 years ago. Okay? City contacted Duke and said, get somebody out here and bring it up to code. Yeah, the city's not afraid to enforce our codes. You know, it doesn't matter if it's Duke or you know, who it is. We'll enforce our codes as best we possibly can. Now here, and I will admit here lately, that's been a little lax because we've been without a zoning coordinator or zoning administrator for some time after I was retired. It took us a while to get a new one hired. That's why Mr. Bridges is brand new to us. So things have been a little lax for the last little bit since Mr. Jones retired, but we're back on that now and we will enforce our codes.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Casey Chapin, I live at 940 Pearson Road. My concerns more involve the kind of long-term enforcement of coding and things like that. Pearson Road, particularly, as we said, the Carvana, and some other places on Pearson Road I can think of. There used to be a pencil factory, for instance. I think it's still there, I don't remember. That was quite an eyesore itself on the street. And with Carvana, you know, it's been quite a noisy operation, I can say. I'm sure Robert can attest to that. Quite noisy, pretty early in the morning, about 6 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. So I guess my question kind of concerns, how is it going to be enforced if the code's being broken on something like the sound level or the kind of glare on the road level? Because that is something that I think that really needs to be brought up as well.
They can't do anything about the sound. If it
Well-
goes above what the zoning says, they're not gonna do anything.
Well, that's my point. What is there to ensure that that kind of zoning won't be broken?
That would be up to the zoning department to issue a citation to them. They would have to go through our normal process of issuing a warning. They have so long to correct it, and then there's punitive action.
So in that sense, so what kind of punitive action would be taken in the event of a violation?
I can't tell you those right off the top of my head. They're in the codes.
They're minimal,
No?
that they would pay.
Is
They would
it,
just pay them. If it's louder than what it's supposed to be, and if people complain,
so is there
they
a
just
fine,
pay 'em.
for instance?
It'd be minimal.
So is there like a fine, for instance?
I don't have you guys, they're just
Yeah, go ahead.
truthful.
So when they submit stuff like this, it is documented, it is through paper. I found my summaries of these appendices, so if you want some more information, just come see me after the meeting. These appendices were massive, they're huge. So when you look at that amount of data, you're gonna have to have notes, and none of it all is gonna come to your mind. To answer your question, sir, when they submit this is what we expect to have. The vegetation is outlined, I have more specifics for you on that. If it falls below anything that they have submitted, we have exterior property maintenance codes in place to enforce that. Once they go in, we're gonna know that they're gonna have vegetative screening, X amount of type, X amount of height. Okay, once that is submitted, we will have to make sure it's compliant. It is no different than someone who, my issue with, that's not issue, my stance as a new planning and zoning administrator is a lot of code enforcement has been dictated in anger towards the residents for having tall grass or shutter falling off their garage. We need to start doing more with holding our industry and our business to the same standards. If we are going to tag someone for tall grass over private property, Carvana, Duke, whoever should be held to the same standards. So with that being said, me being new, I am taking a very strong approach to that industrial compliance side of things. If they don't do that, what we do is we do a courtesy. We will either call or mail a letter and say, hey, this is not what it needs to be according to the plan submitted. We will give you a reasonable amount of time to fix it. If it's something like just replacing a dead tree, you can get that at a landscaper. We'll give you a week or two. If it's something more extensive, we'll give you a little bit more time. But once that time frame has expired, if it's not corrected, we will issue a formal violation. That is a legally binding piece of paper that is actually enforceable through our own codes, and then actually has some penalty sections with it as well. They are not end of the world penalties by any means, they're not. But there is some sort of penalty action there. I have about 13 years experience in this. My experience looks at and favors that industrial usually takes care of their stuff if they're forced to do so, because they do have the means to do it. So upkeep of the parcel, the exterior of it, we will definitely be on that from a code enforcement side of things. Okay.
So how long will it take, do you believe, for, if there is a code violation? So I think the big one for me is sound. Sound.
I'll pick up on that, yeah.
Yes, because sound has been a big problem with Carvana.
Understand.
I'm sure everybody who lives nearby can say. Yes, it's consistent. I actually worked there, and it was as early as 5:30 in the morning, you had to use your horn. I worked in the department that did the horns and made the awful sound. Sorry, everybody who was running. But it's true. I mean, what kind of test would you do for that? Because I'm sure with something like sound, you know, it can be a hard thing to test.
Not
What
really.
kind of things
Not
are-
really. This is how we handle that. So even cops could do it. We get complaints if someone's neighbor is having a party too loud, or, you know, my neighbor down the street's doing this, and codes usually have, all right, if you're this far away, you have a decibel level that it has to agree to. Cops have this tool. You can literally stand right there. And this is measured from the property line. So no matter where you are at a property line, whether it be here, 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 or here, the study hall says it is measured from this property line. So from right here, it is under the max that is allowed by the city. City allows 50, and I believe this was at 49. So it is right there at that cutoff. It's
For
supply.
these guys, right, for the Duke thing, it's 49.
I'm sorry?
For Duke, it's 49 decibels.
That's the code for the industrial district side of things. That's for everybody.
That's the
So,
code max.
That's the code max. For that, remember I said earlier, you have your industrial zones, you have the residential zone. Each one of those pockets, whether it be regular commercial, like you have your IGAs. We have regular commercial codes, and we have industrial codes. And your industrial codes are a little bit more cohesive and then more, I would say, yeah, they're a little bit stricter just because of the noise that they emit. So with the packet, I'm pretty sure I gave that noise comparison. So, common noise sound levels, this is in that package, is online, it is downloadable. This was submitted by the actual applicant, but this is a pretty standard thing they use across all spectrums. So at 50 decibels, you're right here. So that is a quiet urban daytime, is what that's supposed to sound like. So according to this, at 49. A little bit lower would have been a rural dead time, and it might be at that 49 cutoff. So they're not exceeding anything that they're supposed to be exceeding.
Okay.
Now, to measure that, like I said, if you, hey, we think this is too high, we'll come out there. We'll look, I'll listen to it. If it's something that I'm not comfortable with, we'll have a test done, and then we will see if that is still hold true. You know?
We can't go by what you're comfortable with compared to what she's comfortable with. It's gotta be, somebody's gonna have to bring out a decibel meter and check it. It just can't be what we're comfortable, because I can be comfortable with a lot, I lost some hearing. But somebody else with good hearing won't be comfortable with the same sound level.
No, he's got the sound on for us.
Well, I mean, it can also be said, well, I mean, it can also be said that there's a difference between.
That's what it's gonna sound like.
There's a difference between a sound you have to deal with on a daily basis and a sound you only have to hear once. So, you know, I understand the point about uncomfortability, but at what point is there, you know, where you're gonna test the decibels over a long period of time?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, I'm
You
sure we
know,
could.
And that's the same thing I have, another concern I have about the heat. It's been done in a couple studies that having solar panels nearby raises heat. And I read in the briefing for this meeting that it said that I think it had heat resistant, something with the solar panels, I can't remember.
There's a glare study done.
A glare study, yes. But let's say in the event that that doesn't turn out to be true, I mean, you know, what kind of point are you going to measure that? Because that's something that's a lot harder than sound, because with sound, at least you can hear it. With heat, you know, it's going to depend. You'll have to have some kind of temperature regulator, something along those lines, or they could have something like that to make sure that heat isn't going above the natural levels, or is that just kind of a moot kind of thing to regulate?
I don't think it's moved by anything. It's, you're giving me situations that what ifs, and that's fine. But there's nothing in our code that says, all right, we have to do this at this stage, this is at that stage, this is that stage. So when this is all done and operational, me as doing my due diligence would go and listen to the operation. I would see if it's within the range, and I would probably have a decibel reader there. They're pretty easy things you can probably get on Amazon for 15 bucks.
Yes, but
So as far as your glare,
At that point, it's already done.
yeah,
Who cares?
I don't understand.
well, then you hold
We're gonna
them
make them take it all down? No.
if we have to.
Yeah.
Come on.
Seen it before.
I was born tonight, but it wasn't last night.
We ain't new. You might be new, we ain't.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
This area is zoned industrial, has been for a long time. Okay? That means they could go in there and they could put warehouses in there.
I'd rather
What-
see a warehouse.
Would a warehouse create any more heat with a metal roof covering 80% of the property?
Look at the studies of solar panels. It talks about
How-
how it raises the temperature, and don't forget the depreciation of housing within that distance is usually.
4.8%.
Yeah, so you don't look at what we're losing out, not
Well-
only the eyesore, but our property value.
Well,
You
from
wanna
what,
pay the difference in the property value?
I mean, all
City?
these studies say, yeah, it don't affect it unless you live within under 4/10 of a mile. Look at every
Yeah, from
study about solar panels. It's all great unless you live under that 0.4 of a mile. That's where it affects everybody's noise, glare. Oh, yeah, sure it ain't gonna affect people
Yeah.
on Arthur Street because they got 3 rows of houses before them. So, yeah, that does affect that.
Well,
So,
from what,
Basically, what it boils
Did y'all
down to-
look at that when you agreed it?
from what I was reading today, I mean, I just Googled, you know,
I've been
problems with
reading it all week.
solar fields, okay? And I didn't do a lot of research, I just made a simple inquiry. And from what I was reading, a lot of what you're saying is not accurate, but from what I was reading, okay? Maybe you found a different study.
Did you use Google or no?
Google.
Are you just
didn't read
looking
it
at the
up.
overall thing, or where
Okay.
it says, unless you live within
It-
this distance?
What I read said that at 100 feet, the sound would be about the same as your refrigerator.
I can't hear my refrigerator
Okay.
at all. You think I'm gonna
Okay.
go outside and not hear that thing?
Okay.
No, but I mean, honestly, no, if you're standing at the property line, you're across the street, I mean, I don't think you would hear his phone inside your house. That's my opinion, because that's how they measure that to determine that initial
So
standard.
we're not gonna hear that outside?
Well, if
Just
you're,
like I don't hear Carvana beeping their horns all night.
You think I'm gonna hear
long,
that outside?
I don't think it's gonna be that intense,
I may not hear it
no, I
inside,
think
but
that
I'll
you're
hear
away
that
from it a
outside.
little bit, but I think, like I said, I don't think it's gonna be that intense. I'm not saying you're not gonna hear something, clearly with that, but I think if you're inside with your doors closed, you won't hear that, is what I'm saying.
Right, I
And
said I
we
won't hear
won't
it
see the
inside.
glare off of them either.
Well, we had a glare study and it has the glare
Or
study
the
found.
heat. What about the heat
the-
study?
The heat study, I haven't found nothing in here that supports that. I have done some research on these heat islands, and it says it's May, which is a big indicator of a lot of natural surroundings around it. So my question to those that have looked at heat shields, have you expanded that to find out if that solar panel was maybe in a valley or a crescent that would hold that heat in? They
Then it's
can
gonna
raise
be-
it, but it also dissipates very quickly.
Okay, but I live the 100 feet from it, so you don't think my house is feeling it every day?
I don't think it said,
Every
my
day,
knowledge of it
sundown,
says the heat disperses really
That's
quickly.
like saying live in the middle of an asphalt parking lot, it's no hotter than in the grass. Okay.
What I'm saying is the further you're away from the panel, all the research I have seen says the temperature drops drastically.
The further away.
Excuse
So
I'm
if here's your
50
panel, say this is 140 degrees.
You
okay?
see how many panels
The
there's
more,
gonna be?
I understand that, but the moment the moment you walk away, it dissipates. So
Okay, so. the
I haven't
fence
seen
is
anything that
holding
says
all
like, it takes this heat and it makes the, half a mile radius 20 degrees higher. It's all just kind of centrally located and dissipates. So that's what I have found.
So if you're under a half mile, you're feeling it. Is what you just said.
I didn't say anything about distance other than very specifically.
They're behind, their study probably is a good thing here.
We do have a study, I'm a student of Ohio State, and looking through their academic catalog, we found a study from Virginia Tech that my father can explain it much better.
Can you, what year was that published?
This year in June.
So, first of all, the first study I'm going to bring up is from Virginia Tech University. It was put out in June this year. And according to the study by Virginia Tech, they looked at over 9 million real estate transactions, charting property values over a 15-year period from the starts of production of the solar sites through 2020. The distance from the solar arrays were brought into the study, and they found out that vacant land and agricultural land within 2 miles of the site saw an increase in value. Residential sites, 4.8% loss on average, and that's on average. The negative impact was not affected by sightline. So whether they put something up where we can see it or not, our property value is going to go down, especially those of us that are on Pearson Road right across from these things. The other thing is, those heat areas, when those things are put in, they don't allow the ground basically to go ahead and reuse the heat and release it through, hang on a second, sorry.
Effectively, the point is, the logistics don't matter, but effectively the point is that there is an almost, I believe it was, 4 degrees Celsius warmer temperature when you're nearby solar farms and when you're not.
And when you're not.
Than when you're not. So my point is that is there anything being done to get rid of the heat that comes from these solar panels. Because that is a big important point, because if it's the summer and it's quite hot, I don't want it to be any hotter. It not only drives up the cost of air conditioning, if you're using that, but I mean, it's also just uncomfortable in general.
Duke wants it to drive up your air so they can get more from you.
Yeah, because according to this study, that the panels reduce the amount of heat that's absorbed into the ground and to the foliage in the place that the panels were. And then they're not able to go ahead and release that basically through the dew effect and in the evening times. So what happens is these they stay heated. They don't reflect all of the radiation that comes through. It hits the ground and basically has nothing to do but sit and warm up, especially underneath the panels. So, I mean, I can show you the study if you'd like to see it.
There was a glare, like I said, they did a glare study. No
This
glare.
isn't about, this is not about glare.
Well, if you get.
The glare,
I understand that, sir, but can I finish what I was
saying?
saying? Because on that, they have a reflective panel on top of the solar panel. So that will help with that. I can't sit there and say it is going to be hotter or not. All the information I have found is case-by-case scenario. I understand you have a study from West Virginia University.
Virginia Tech University.
That's great. I'll take a look at it, email it to me, but it's an academic study. I can find one to negate everything that says on that. Basically, what I'm trying not to be rude is, there's studies out there that prove every point.
He's saying they're doing.
So we have done our due diligence to the point that this code says that we have to do. We can only rely on what is submitted through the plans from the professionals and then the studies done from the professionals that are in that field. So I want to bring back to the property value, because part of this requirement is to also a property value study. I'm going to read.
We all increased our value.
Before you start, sir, may I ask what who cited that information? Who did the study? I want to know who did the study that you're going to cite before you.
Sure, it's all, you can have it right now. I mean, I'll give it to you at the end of the meeting. It's all public information.
Who performed the study? That was my only question.
I don't have it on my survey. If you give me a second, I can
Were
find
they
it for you.
hired by Duke Energy to do it, or was it done in the city?
Cities don't undertake those. That would be a very costly endeavor, so it's no different than,
Duke ain't gonna say
it is no different than a developer coming in to build a housing development, et cetera, et cetera. They pay for all that stuff.
From Virginia Tech.
Well,
Yeah, I'm trying.
so that's probably all the information I'm going to have on that, I assume. So the final question I have is about the construction of the solar panels. You know, even if they're delivered, I'm sure many of us who live around Carvana remember when Carvana was being constructed, the amount of traffic and industrial like garbage that was. I believe, Robert, you probably remember they had a big black truck that was around the Carvana and ended up ripping off and ending up in the yards of people on the end of Pearson Road. So what kind of regulations are against kind of that sort of waste that comes from the construction of these and the implementation of, not implementation, but basically putting these panels in place? Because I think that's an important thing to know too, is not just, you know, what's going to look like when they're done, but what they're going to look like in the process of putting them in.
What leaks when they break?
And that's another point as well. If they break, is there going to be any ground pollution or anything like that that comes from these? Because if you live across the street, you know, you're pretty close to the point that it can probably pollute your ground. So is there been any look at what happens
Do
when
we
they
know what's in
break?
the ground under there?
Yeah, the aquifer.
I know
So all these contaminated things, if they break, go down into the water well that we drink.
It's electricity and maybe some.
No, there's things inside those panels, it's called cardum or something like that.
Those are not,
Can contaminate the ground.
those are not city water wells.
Well, there's some water wells, but
Yeah.
you probably don't want some chemical in them from the solar panel.
Well, but my point is in general, is there going to be any code about what kind of waste on that property or any sort of thing about broken structures within the property that could come out of the property? Because that is what happened with Carvana when it was being constructed. We had things from Carvana that came out and onto the street and onto the properties of the people who were across the street. Or not across, but adjacent to the Carvana. So what kind of code enforcement is there for that?
Are you asking about like when they construct, how you
Well, yes,
get there?
construction and general kind of during you know, and even if it needs to be taken down, what kind of,
So let me get to that. So the construction of it would be no different than how anything else is constructed, you know? They will do it in an orderly manner. If they are on your private property, call the police officers or give us a call at the city building. They have lanes within here for access or construction. So when they get back in here, they're gonna be accessing in certain points right here and coming back in your field. So they're just gonna be coming in right here and then doing all your construction back here. So I don't know if there'll ever be a point where they're across the street.
well, okay, but my point was not about that, my point was about the kind of pollution that comes about during the construction. Like I said,
Dust.
you know, there was
Dust would be
large amounts
right
of
in
dust,
there.
large amounts of effectively garbage that ended up in the yards of people at the end of Pearson Road.
So one of the things you can do is you can require them to wet the fields if it's dry and dusty out. That's going to mitigate any kind of dust flying at you. So that would be a more of an environmental call on that. We can't get around them constructing it. You're going to be hearing stuff and having to see that during construction. But as far as construction themselves, that will have to go through the contracting company you use called NIC. And that is electrical permit, and they are pretty extensive. Yeah. Sir, if you want to give me your name and number, I can shoot you some stuff that you're asking for. Yeah.
Could you finish talking about the property value thing?
Yeah, we're gonna read that
I
summary.
don't think we finished
Sure, absolutely. So again, they have, the summaries are just a summary because the actual appendices are rather large. Let me find which one it was. There's a total of 8 of these, by the way. All right, so where is land survey? That's not it. Property value summary. Okay, it says project overview, the 59.9 megawatt Woodsdale Solar Project is proposed on approximately 214 acres. 140 of those are in the city. The site consists of commercial and industrial zoning classifications, IP and IG districts, and is surrounded by a mixture of residential, agriculture, commercial, and industrial land uses. A GIS-based adjoining parcel analysis identified 78 adjoining parcels totaling 1,604 acres. So that is what they looked at. Adjoining uses include residential, agricultural, industrial, commercial. Residential was 3.1%, agriculture was 36%, industrial was 31%.
3.1% what?
I'm assuming of the acreage. So when they looked at the area,
What, gain, loss, what?
that's just, I think, a number of how many were included in the study, not so much each one is up or down $5,000. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Um,
I mean, that's honestly, it's all revolves around money, so does it not say?
I'm trying to get done with it. Okay. And it says the project area is surrounded by several major industrial operations, including Miller Broys, power plant. The existing land uses already influence surrounding property values and serve as a mitigating factor against any additional perceived impact from the proposed solar project. Demographic data, 1, 3, 5 mile radius indicate modest population decline last 15 years. Methodology, analytical standard. The study follows the uniform standards of professional appraisal practices and methodologies established by the Appraisal Institute. The analysis utilizes sale, resale, and this is different stuff. Sale, resale, and matched pair comparison methods to identify measurable difference in value for properties adjoining solar facilities. The study also considers potential external factors such as noise, odor, traffic, appearance, and environmental impact. Solar farms were found to generate no traffic, odor, or noise concerns and are comparable to agriculture uses regarding compatibility. Market variation within 5% is identified as atypical for real estate transactions. Impacts smaller than this where the range are statistically insignificant. So here are your findings. The study referenced more than 11 professional appraisal impact analysis and 8 academic research papers across the United States. These findings from the University of Texas, University of Rhode Island, Georgia, and East Carolina University, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, and Loyola Chicago, and Purdue. Those are all very respected research institutions. I'm not saying it way or nay about the study, but ideally these are great research institutions to attend. Across these studies, value impact range from negative 5.6% to 2.1% gain with an average range of -1.9% and plus 0.33, demonstrating no statistically significant reduction in property values. Notably rural or semi-rural areas with population densities below 2,000 persons per square mile, like Trenton and Madison Township, showed no measurable depreciation in the study. So that's what the property value said, that it can go down by an average of 1.9 to 0.3, but in the world of real estate appraisals, that is statistically insignificant.
Thank you.
Who was that? What was that? Where was that?
I'm sorry?
Through where?
I'm sorry?
Through what? Where did you read that off of?
This is a summary of
Of their report?
yes.
I'm sorry, then that's not even accurate.
So even despite.
Well, let's let the people that have been standing here wait and speak. Go ahead, ma'am.
I am Mandy, this is Tessa, we're on the soccer board. Our biggest concern is we keep being told it's not gonna affect the soccer fields. Can you pull up the map again?
Yeah. Are you talking about the first one I saw? Because it's going to be covered up. 'Cause there's this.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Let me bring this one a little closer, because I know it's hard to see through the
The big green one?
This one, ma'am, or another one?
The one with the purple on it? The one that's shaded, yes.
Yeah, the red dots, they have the red dots around me.
You want? There's only three on, so process of elimination.
No, you're fine.
That one,
Okay, this one? Or do you want that one?
that one's better. So can you please tell us how this is going to affect our kids?
So,
With the noise, with this, the heat coming off of these solar panels, literally right next to us. How are our refs gonna be able to ref games? How are the kids, how are we gonna be able to coach our kids with all this noise going on?
I honestly, all due respect, I think if you have kids involved at that level, I don't think they're going to hear these solar panels all that much. All due respect, but I think kids, when you deal with that, it's kind of a lot loud, 'cause my nieces and nephews. I understand your concern. One of the first questions I had was, what's going to happen to the soccer fields? Completely understandable. City's been using that for years. It's actually not city property. Duke owns it. And they graciously give it to,
If I can say, we've tried to contact Duke a lot.
yeah.
Over the past, I have been a part of the board for a year and a half, and we have no contact information for Duke, to be able to contact them to get permission to do anything at the fields, people on the
Sure.
board previously.
Can I explain why? Because Duke leases that to what club of soccer is your parent? There's like an organization that
It
you.
was splits and now it's Trenton Soccer Association.
Okay, so Duke has an agreement with Trenton Soccer Association, from my understanding. There's someone in between Duke and your soccer association that manages that. And that Duke subleases to that person subleases to you. So there may be another middleman between Duke and your soccer association, but I have been told that Duke subleases to someone else who subleases it to you.
But why is it so hard for us to get that information so we
No.
can
There's
contact that
contact
person?
information
I'm from Duke.
Yeah,
from Duke, from the city, from anybody.
I don't know why you haven't had it before. I can reach out for you and try to get a contact. What is the point of it for? To try to buy the land, or?
No, I mean, I'm the president of the board, she's vice president of the board, we have no contact information.
Just to be
We
able
can't
to-
ask
Not even for the,
permission
not
to
even
fix
for the
parking
leasing
lot.
it's the
holder?
parking lot.
Correct,
do
not the
things
leasing or
Yeah.
anything.
Come grab my cards, and then I didn't know all that. I got
So
you.
that,
And we
the
were
soccer
never
fields are leased?
contacted either.
Yeah, I get you, 100.
I thought Duke gave us permission to just use that as soccer fields. We didn't have, but that, you guys
It's-
It's a
didn't.
$1 a year,
$1.
Okay.
which is fine, but just the communication, I think, is very lacking. And I do not live on Pearson Road. Tessa does not live on Pearson Road. We were never notified. The board for soccer was never notified. The PO Box 4903 Pearson Road, nothing was communicated to us at all. We got it through a text message.
Because that is Duke-owned parcels. So when we do that notification, we have to use the Butler County Auditor GIS page, which is the taxes, when we pull that up, it has a whole GIS section to it. And we put the address in where this is going to go, and then it buffers that out. It only buffers out. Clearly, it's not going to buffer the property owner who you're taking that buffer from. See what I'm saying? So since it's a Duke parcel, No one at the soccer knew because one, there's no communication. And then two, they were never getting notified anyway because it's actually used on the property.
Can I ask you a
But I
question?
think that that's why
Yep.
somebody had brought it up before, that it would have been nice for other residents of the city of Trenton to be notified, because had that happened, then I at least would have been notified.
Are there gonna be other meetings about this, or is this gonna be the last one?
This would be the one
No.
for the conditional use permit.
So I was gonna say, you're able to contact all of the people that bring their kids there to play. I would advise you to find out when that next, whatever meeting this is, and let them all know about what their kids are gonna be playing this game.
Before November sixth, remember, there's a vote coming up, and these people that sit in here to get voted out too.
And then you also said that they are south facing, correct? So
South
facing the
facing
soccer
our
field.
They can.
So have there been
It's just
studies
full of
done
false
on
information.
repercussions of having that so close to a property where there is outdoor playing on a regular basis?
Yeah, so there are visual screening around the soccer field, similar to what you saw on the
So
visual
the
on
solar
Pearson.
panels
Road.
facing the field is not going to.
You're gonna have vegetation around this whole
Yeah,
thing.
they're visual in glare barriers as well.
So this is why I wanted to print it.
About the health part of it, so.
You guys struggle keeping that grass alive already.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, yes.
We
With
do.
the extra heat added by those solar panels, your kids are gonna be playing in dirt on some of those fields.
And
So-
then-
Unless you water it somehow. I'm telling you.
I wanted to focus on this because we had a lot of concerns, especially with the soccer field. When you look at this, it's vegetated screening, it's new vegetated, it is pretty thick around their whole area. So right here, there's a road right here. So there's other money then. all this.
For that screening stuff, is that stuff they put in already at 7 feet, or is it 2 feet and we gotta wait 5 years for it to block the
When
fence?
you're not
And
all the vegetation screening. This
Is there a full size?
Well, I mean, what good is they plan to,
Takes 10
tell
years.
them that it takes 20 years to grow, then it's no obsolete.
Just as soon as take the soccer fields away from them.
Oh, yeah.
So what, what were you guys talking about? The soccer field?
Yeah,
Like they're graciously let us have it?
yeah, they do.
So we're supposed to cow down to them because they graciously let it, we can play it over at the community park.
I didn't say that, you did.
Well, you guys are up there whispering about it or something. I mean, I thought that was supposed to be open.
It is.
Then let's talk about what you guys are talking about.
We-
Just because they graciously let us use the soccer field doesn't mean we should just
No, of course
bend
not.
over.
That's a totally
let them have what
different,
they want.
it's a totally different issue.
Lawyer, we pay taxes for this city. You said it was too expensive to get a lawyer if they tried to say no?
I never
You
said
should be
that.
able,
You said they'll get a lawyer, and then it would just be
It
on
would go,
cost.
they,
It would cost
my
us too
opinion, they
much.
would probably
I
take it
guarantee
to
you a lot of
court.
people in this city would say no to them. You won't, but the residents.
Well, you don't know that. You
Well,
don't
the
know.
only
I
people
don't
decide
know that.
this is
Yeah, I'm not gonna
you
argue with you,
board.
gentlemen.
I'm not gonna-
You know, you don't know me, you don't know my opinion yet, you haven't given us much of a
Y'all
chance
have
to
already
speak.
said you was
that you were gonna
approving
do
it,
this.
and either they take it to court,
I-
or we,
I explained to you from the beginning, it's this panel's responsibility to make sure that their application has met our legal requirements,
And they all have.
and they have,
so you approve it.
okay? We will take a vote when we're done here, whether to refer this to council to approve or not to approve.
Are you allowed to
okay?
gamble?
It's- The ultimate decision is city council's, okay?
When's their
I'll bet
meeting?
you $1 to a donut you prove it.
When's
First
their
Thur-
meeting?
First Thursday in November will be the next one.
City council meeting, right?
Okay, I'll go to the city council.
So back to that, have there been studies done about being that close, I guess, health-wise? I'm not worried about the glare, I'm not worried about the eyesore, any of that stuff. I'm worried about the safety of our kids. Period.
You know, we submitted the application against the ordinances, that's how we structured our studies.
Yeah, I don't-
So,
The thing is, like,
There is no risk to kids that are playing soccer next to the.
Except the heat.
and then, is this gonna cause any issue with wildlife? Because we already have an influx of chipmunks at the fields that make it dangerous. Are we gonna be relocating other wildlife because of this?
Well, they're gonna have grass and stuff underneath the panels, so there'll be a habitat for that. The
Good
fencing,
weave on.
the fencing is 7 foot tall, post system, thick wire come between, not enough for an animal to get through, about like that much spacing. You will never be able to keep animals out of any area that you want them to unless you're on like Fort Knox. So I'm not saying that some animals not gonna go from point A to point B, but there's not gonna be, during construction is a little different, but I think things will probably work their way back in their habitat at some point in time. I don't think you guys will allow like a,
There will be a huge influx of mice into that
Oh,
residential.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I hear it every time they do the field.
1,000%, there will be an influx of rodents coming into our houses.
okay.
But that ain't
I
the-
work for Terminex, so I know they will. When they did the soccer fields in Westchester, that's what happened to that whole subdivision over there across Butler Warren Road.
Well, my experience is a little different than yours, being in this for a long time, seeing resident development.
34 years of experience.
Well,
There you go.
that's great, it's awesome. When we see these development stuff comes in, I haven't had any calls or complaints about rodents moving from point A to point B just to get out of the environment. I'm not saying it doesn't
Are they
happen.
turning
I had
a
an influx when Carvana
cornfield
went in.
into a solar field? Are they turning a cornfield into a solar field in the rural area? No, Carvana's not by houses and all the dust and trash. Now, directly across, you're gonna have even more of that, because now we're in front of the construction.
I don't know if there's enough evidence to really support that. I think it's a valid concern and complaint, but I haven't seen any
As long as it don't affect
stuff
y'all.
in my
When we
experience that
when we
says
develop,
people adjacent have issues with rodents. So,
Do you live in Trenton?
no?
See?
Okay.
But
That's why.
my sister does, my cousin does. I have about 3 family members at Expo High School. So I
But
do
you
have
decide what
I do
goes
have
on in Trenton, and you don't live in Trenton.
no, he doesn't decide. City council does. He's an employee of the city.
Right, you guys live in Trenton.
Yes, sir.
You want a trade house?
Would you buy my house across from that solar field if it was for sale?
No, because I'm happy with my house, but
Okay, no one's gonna wanna buy a house directly
I'm happy
looking at
with
a
mine, too.
solar field.
Okay,
So yeah, the property value ain't going down, and you ain't never gonna sell it.
but you bought a house that was across the road from industrial zone property.
I guarantee you that.
I guarantee it wasn't done that way in 2001.
I bet it was.
It was across from a farm field.
Right.
It was a farm field, the whole area was, and now you've changed it to zone. It wasn't zoned for this shit until you did it,
It was zoned industrial.
not a
When?
solar
Not a
field.
solar field.
There's a big difference from having shape down there than having a solar field across the street.
That we get no benefit from. You put a factory in over there, somebody's gonna get a job at least.
What are you getting from this? Even the city ain't getting nothing. You give it, I mean, no tax breaks, no power, I mean, what's the purpose of having this? If the city's getting nothing out of it, the residents are getting nothing out of it. You ain't building a new city building because no one's getting use of it. You're building a new city building because, so why are you
We-
doing this
we
when you're
cannot-
getting nothing?
We cannot give zoning permits based on what the city's gonna get out of it.
Ain't you zoning it so that people can build shit there that's gonna make the city money? Taxes, right? Is Duke paying taxes on this solar farm? Do they pay taxes on all that property they own to Trenton?
Yeah, and they're gonna pay more once they improve it.
I mean, you guys are going after 16-year-olds for taxes working, but all these people come and build industry and you give them 10-year tax breaks where they ain't gotta pay shit. And then come to us saying, hey, you need to pay that thing you didn't pay back in 2009,
Okay,
or
we're-
we're gonna take you to court.
We're getting off the subject. We're not here to talk about income taxes, number one. So we're not gonna get into that.
Can I say one thing to you? Now, believe it or not, I'm on your side more than you think I am, okay? But the one part of it that's in my head is, and I can't help but to think of it a little bit, is suppose you own the property and you wanted to do business on it, and you're told that you can't, even though you meet code and you meet regulations.
You guys already tell us that, what we can and can't put on.
Well, no, I'm just asking you a question. Just consider the other side. I'm trying to consider both sides of it. you know.
I would definitely, if I was them, I would have done some kind of ask the people along there, what do y'all think?
I
about
agree.
The solar panel. They come around to our house
I've
every
never
week,
seen
wanting to
one so
put on
close.
the damn roof, and you guys allow them to solicit that. But these guys never once came to my house and mentioned anything. Nobody from Trenton, nobody from Duke ever came and mentioned solar farms going in across the street.
No, it would be the same if you wanted to put an addition on your house. You wouldn't be required to go to your neighbors and tell them what you wanted to do.
Okay, so the city don't need to let us know. They let us know they was gonna build Carvana. They let us know they was building the reserve. So the city don't wanna let anybody know is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying
You
that.
don't, you just
We
said you don't ask
we
your
sent the
neighbor
letter,
for something.
well, I'm not going to argue with you, okay? We sent the letters that are required by law. Our ordinances follow Ohio Revised Code, which we're required to do on a lot of this
Okay,
stuff.
you've already approved
Okay.
this, we got you.
Where's all the energy going to go to? From?
It'll go into the power grid.
Where? Ours?
It's going to somewhere. I mean, it'll
Yeah.
go to.
They
The
said
pattern.
it wasn't affecting Trenton one bit, so we're having all the solar panels and the power's going somewhere else.
It's an extension of the Woodsdale generating facility.
Did she just give up on us? She just said,
No, I said I'm finished.
okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, if
I'm
anybody,
sorry you stayed up there like that.
I thought you gave up.
Well, she done gave up on us.
I got my questions answered on the question.
did you have something else you wanted to say, sir?
Yes, please. When was this zoned industrial and not agricultural?
I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but it's been industrial for quite some time, from what I understand.
So is farming industrial?
Can I take that?
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of times, I keep on going back to this slide because there's so much information we can derive from this slide that if we could actually just have a great conversation, I think a lot of questions may be answered. All right. Sir, what was your question again? I'm sorry, my mind is everywhere right now.
I said, hey.
Oh, yes.
When was it zoned
When was
industrial?
this zoned industrial?
Okay,
And if it's industrial, I've been here 20 years and it's
Thank you.
been farmed the whole time.
so farming has been going on for a very long time everywhere. Trenton, I'm very, very familiar with the city. Used
Right.
to be a stoplight and farm fields. Okay, so once the city annexes that part of town in, the zoning has to be assigned to something. Okay, so either they can make it industrial, they can make it agriculture. But usually what happens a lot of times is when you bring it over, it's still agriculture, farming purposes, but the zone is now industrial. Basically, that field and that zoning is grandfathered in. The moment they go and change it, do any kind of improvements to that, then that agriculture now has to follow the standards of this industrial zone. So it makes complete sense that it was farm field for the longest time and everyone just assumed it was agriculture. But reality was, it was just agriculture, because that's what it's been for hundreds of years. And then the city applied their zoning overlay, which is what we have in front of us there, and says this is now agriculture. Until that parcel is approved, it is grandfathered in. So now it's agriculture, its use is agriculture. They're coming in and proving that. Now they have to follow all the steps outlined in 1252.13, 1252.13, and those are your industrial zoning, 2 areas that's in. Ma'am, I think you got, maybe that purple area is what threw some people off. All that is indicative of a different type of zoning. So your light purple, I think, is IP, and the dark is IG. So all that is saying, hey, there's 2 different types of industrial zoning. We have 4 different residential zones in the city that require bigger yards or smaller houses, et cetera, et cetera. No different for anywhere else. But again, that's probably why it was just assumed. Really, in all this time, it's been zoned industrial, but unless any activity takes place on it, nothing happens. And the same thing more than likely happened with Carnova. When it came in, it clearly had to improve and follow the standards under the IP and IP similar to this. The only difference is between Carnova or the Duncan site plan that went to city council. This is a conditional use permit. So that section that they put in back in February or 20th, that included 1256, 17B, where they added solar panel as a conditional use in that district.
When was that?
February 20th.
This year?
Yes. But that happens all the time, and I don't want people to say, oh, the city knew. I'm not saying they probably knew a project was coming in, but they didn't know where. And that's why I wanted to bring this back up, and I said it earlier. So when you have this whole area purple, and we know it needs to go in industrial zone, we don't know where it's going to go at, so they have to apply that to all the industrial zone standards in the city. And that's the truth.
That's sneaky.
So every industrial area is.
No, I don't think it's sneaky. I don't think it's
It's sneaky. You weren't here.
The process was there, though. They changed the zoning code to allow.
Back in
for that
February,
solar
we talked about this, they should have said they were gonna change it to do that.
That's.
They should have told everybody in this room that they were gonna change that to do that.
I'm pretty sure that's what the meeting.
They
was
didn't
for,
do it though.
Because this.
I was
board-
here, they didn't tell us that.
This board would have made that recommendation to
How do we get the
council
minutes?
because they're online.
Okay.
For that kind of zoning change, because we're going to do some more after this for a new district we're putting in, the city council would make that recommendation to planning commission. Planning commission has a meeting, what we're doing tonight. They
You
review
get
that,
I understand
and then,
all
sir, what
the process,
happens
how it
is-
works. It's just sneaky the way they did it.
what happens is, once they do it, they
What-
make a
what-
recommendation to council to approve or deny.
I don't understand what you think is sneaky.
But
We changed the zoning so that they could put it in.
We
No,
added, no, we didn't change the zoning.
Uses in the zone.
We added a conditional use for solar
For
farms.
solar.
Right.
Right.
If,
Back in February. Why didn't you tell everybody that you were gonna change that? Because at that point, you
We
said
did.
that we're not gonna do it, it's gonna go somewhere else.
So a lot of times, these applications come in,
Dude, listen, you weren't here.
I understand that, but it's the
That is-
same process no
They had
matter
the
where you're
surveyors
at.
out there and everything.
Someone who could have called them and said, I'm with company ABY. I'm interested in putting a solar panel in. Duke don't have to say it's Duke from the right-go. There's
So
many
is all
instances.
industrial areas set up for solar?
Yes, and that's the whole.
It is now.
That's the whole point of why they did that. They had no, they
And part of-
did not know where it was going to go. They just knew it was going to have to be zoned industrial.
part of the reason why we put the conditional use on the industrial property is because the old Magnode property right here on State Street is zoned industrial. If we hadn't put a conditional use on that, somebody could have tore all those buildings down and put a solar farm right there, and there wouldn't have been a thing we could do about it. But we put a conditional use where it has to be approved for a specific site and for a specific plan.
Right across the street from my house. You paid no mind to the residents that live in your city, and you zoned it for that.
If we didn't pay any mind to our residents, we wouldn't have you here tonight.
We're paying mine to you right now.
There's,
We're citizens to
all our
residents.
meetings,
But it doesn't matter.
our meetings are open to the public. Our meetings are open to the public. There were at least 2 readings of that ordinance when we put the conditional use on. There was also a public hearing held for that,
Where?
which is what we did right
How do you
here.
announce the public hearing?
They're on the,
Trent Talk?
they're on the city council agenda that's posted online every meeting.
And they're on the city
Which
website.
goes back to my original point. Somebody should have come and knocked on my door, every house on that road, and talked to them personally.
Well, I'm sorry, but
I
that's,
know that you're not required.
no. And it's
But it sure would be
unrealistic.
awfully nice.
We can't knock on everyone's door every time we pass an
Just on that one
ordinance.
street,
Yeah,
just on that one street, you couldn't come knock on a door.
well, it's not just that one
You want
street.
everybody's votes when it's time for election, you put out signs and knock on doors, kiss babies, and
Well, let's
whatever
put a
all you
sign.
do.
What I'm saying, it's not,
What?
it's not a one street, one issue. If we did that, we would
It's a
have,
residential issue.
we
You
would,
looking at it?
we would have to go door to door for every ordinance we pass, is what you're saying.
No, it's not, you wouldn't.
Yes, we would. If we do it for one, we'd have to do it for everyone.
Did you change your, no, you're not.
We can't pick and choose how we notify people.
This solar
You had
farm
to
don't
know it was
affect the
gonna go this
people in
way.
Day Springs.
Is what?
It don't affect the people in Day Springs. So you ain't telling them nothing about this.
There's a big
And you
infield
can't
over
even
there where you're gonna
tell
put the new line, why
25
don't you
properties
well-
that this is going on?
Let's give this gentleman that's been standing here waiting patiently a chance to
Go ahead,
speak.
Brian.
No, it's all good, buddy. No, so I think you guys pretty much got the idea. Nobody really wants this, at least on our street.
Yeah,
So if you guys give it a yay, then it goes to council.
yes,
Then the council votes on it.
yes.
Do they get, are we gonna have a chance to talk to council?
There will be a public section of the meeting where anyone can speak on any issue.
Okay, thank you.
Would they have already voted on it though?
No. Actually, council just made that change it's been, I guess, about 2 years ago. The public section used to be toward the end of the meeting, and we moved it to the beginning of the meeting because of that, so people could speak before we voted. We didn't like how it was being done, and we changed it.
I just want to say I commend you for that, thank you. But my one question is, if it is passed, right, if this vote is passed, will there be any recourse for anybody in the area in the event that the city council, I know the city council will approve it, but I guess that's just my question is, will there be any recourse for the people in the area if they do not like
Suck it up.
the vote? I mean, can there be a petition to kind of reconsider? Is that allowed in the city? Or is it effectively done at that point?
I believe it's pretty much done at that point. I would have to double check with our city attorney to be positive on that, but
So the
I don't think that,
residents have no say. in
I don't
that.
think there could be a referendum at that point. The referendums that are allowed to a vote are basically restricted by the Ohio Revised Code.
Yes, I know that. Okay, thank you, sir.
Our votes only count in November.
Ms. Bridge, do you have anything else to add?
Hey, Brady.
Oh, you're gonna say something, right? Cool.
Sorry, we're screwing you guys up. All I did was submit the video.
This is Clayton Hall with Duke Energy again. Thanks for being here tonight. It was great hearing everyone's voices and concerns. I want to give it over to my colleague Brian York to explain what type of effort Duke undertook before submitting this application. On June 25th, there was an open house that was available to the public. I'll let Brian kind of speak a little bit to the details.
Yeah, we sent postcards out in early June, about 3 or 4 weeks, or it might have been, I can check for dates, but on June 25th, we rented out, or I could borrow, whatever, the Edgewood to school, and we had a community meeting open for everyone. I know the chief of police was there, and we had a few residents show up, but no one else did. My name and number was on all of those postcards. If you have information you'd like, you're welcome to take my name and number or call me. I'm not sure what questions, I have to get information on some of it, so I'm not an expert on solar, but I am responsible for the engagement on that, and so I don't know the postcards, but they were postcards, colorful postcards, they're bright.
Only
They're
3 people
postcards,
came,
not
so.
letter. There's 600 and some customers that received postcards,
Sir,
according to the mail.
I can say at least that
I agree.
Robert, we were neighbors, of course, we never received a postcard of that sort.
This is something I've been trying to keep
Yes.
track of because I was here in
Yes.
February, and you guys said it wasn't gonna go there.
I know the, I gotta talk to them, I did not.
Yeah, that's right there on the podium.
Pulled along with that, she showed the thing, so I can show them. That'll work. So anybody that would have been in this area, all the way around this, would have got, especially, I know when I did the mapping, it went over to this street.
But if I may, my house is about here, and Robert there, his house is right here. Both of us in his house never received a postcard.
I'm on the other corner.
I mean,
He's on the other corner.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I know that the list I've got shows those addresses on them.
Mhm.
We double check those, we have meetings on that, our community relations person, which isn't here, and actually have another meeting in another city. But we looked through all that to confirm that all the addresses were on there, and I don't know what happened once they get mailed out. You know, we get confirmation that they're sent and that they went to those addresses. So I don't know if, it's the middle of summer, I mean, I don't know if maybe they got tossed because of, they're just a postcard, it looks like a Spectrum thing, the name joined up Spectrum. But it is green, it did say Duke Energy, it did have the community meeting.
Is that June?
Say again.
Is it June?
It would have been June 25th was the actual meeting. So it would have been before June, it would have been the 1st of June when we sent those postcards out. We always give 2 to 3 weeks notice.
Well,
I imagine more than 3 people would have showed up if they got it.
Yeah.
I'm not, I understand the concerns and 100% we'll need to talk about this, but it was something we did communicate. We weren't trying to do anything shady with the company.
No, they wouldn't.
So if I may inquire about that, so I never got it, I would have been still in the process of moving in, which also probably explained maybe a handful of people probably did get them, since I was keeping them by the house. A bunch of other people in that area, they pointed out, there's a lot of my question, to get away from my emotions, because I want to stay productive. What was you said you held like a meeting at, can you give me like a summary of kind of like what was discussed or what you guys did? Just
So
kind
we
of give me a heads up, or?
What we typically do in those is we'll set up tables, and so that you can ask questions, any questions you want, discuss it. Clayton was there, another guy named Matt who works in solar was there, my boss was there, our vice president was there, and we had 12 Duke Energy people there, and we have tables set up, and anybody that comes in, we would discuss any questions and answer to gauge the public perspective.
Then why couldn't y'all answer any of our questions tonight if y'all were there answering them? In June, why haven't you been able to answer anything?
Can I-
Everything's, I don't know, it's on that.
I don't think it's a matter of
It's on the
information, I think
application.
it's the idea of what the meeting was set for. It wasn't set as a meeting for us to answer questions, not that we're not willing to answer
So
questions.
you guys know you're
You
doing
can
it
have my
already,
number,
so it
call
don't
me
matter to
anytime.
you.
I've got
Is that
my
the
number I
case?
can give you, and you can call me, and we can talk, I can talk outside afterwards if you want. But during the meeting, this is about zoning, and so we're not really, it's not just set up that way, if that makes sense.
I
I'm sorry. It's
understand
just
what you're
business
saying. but
Protocol.
I don't want to speak for everybody in the room, but because I myself, like I read the pamphlet, I spent like the past week kind of dreading over it, or the letter that was sent out, I spent the past week kind of shaking my head, like, what did I get myself in, trying to start a family in this. And, we're all very emotional. I'm trying, like, I was over here shaking, trying to just keep my mouth shut. So, like, I understand, that this is in fact the zoning, this is about the zoning, as soon as I kind of got a chance to calm down the other day and go think about it, nothing's gonna happen today, I do that. But the bigger issue that I think a lot of us are really upset about is the main topic here that we're talking about, aside from the zoning, is a lack of communication. This is something that actively affects everybody in that area, and we got a letter a week in advance. While there was other things that you guys had attempted to do, that's not really an official avenue that a lot of people really pay attention. You get a letter from Duke in the mail, say, hey, come to school.
We do postcards, because letters people don't see open them, so we switch.
But when they're from the city of Trenton, everybody does.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Everybody opened their letter to be here tonight, so why didn't you go through the city?
And from my perspective, that would be something I can use for future on notifications for people that, hey, we do work with the city on these, Marcos, we talked with different individuals. I'm not the one that usually deals with the city, I deal with individual customers like yourselves. We have another person who deals with the city. But on this sort of thing, it's not like there was any sneaky, hey, we're gonna try to slide this under. We have to by law, we send our information out and they get community feedback.
Well, in that case, will there be somebody here to answer some of the questions that we have today at the next city council meeting?
The next meeting decides that Duke ain't gonna be here.
So you're public relations essentially, right?
Yeah, I do engagement for all
So-
residential, non.
As to his question on that, like, I know this is a zoning meeting. I myself just got the zoning meeting. I didn't get a chance to get these questions. We have a lot of questions about this. That's why this is devolved, admittedly, maybe a little bit more aggressively or negatively, trying to calm all that back down. But will we get another opportunity to kind of get information on this, since for one reason or another, it kind of slid right by everybody, even though it's such a major change?
They wanted to know.
Well,
It's regardless of what they wanted, I'm asking what we're gonna get. If there's gonna be a moral, legal, legality, state law, something like that, aside.
I can't
Morally,
answer, I can't answer anything from
Oh,
the
I know.
zoning board, but I can answer from our perspective. We'll definitely want to hear your input.
Well, he's not talking about his own meeting, he's talking about, are we gonna have a chance to sit down and ask you guys the questions we brought up here and no one seems to answer? Is there gonna be a separate time for that, or can we do that at the city council meeting? Is there gonna be somebody there to basically talk to us about those particular?
I'm sure somebody from Duke will be there, but I would say.
I think we need to put it
the appropriate
into
thing
this.
is to do that before the city council meeting. You should reach out to myself, or I can get with Abby or Clayton, anybody, we can get your answers.
I don't know.
to your questions.
So is everything being spoken right now on record?
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah, I can't say you're gonna be, I don't know, I don't know the answers, I'll have to get them, but if you wanna call me, I can give you my number.
That's not.
Can I ask what questions you guys still have that are left unanswered, and I can write them down? I thought we had answered most of them, even though it may have been not what the group wanted to hear, but I do believe we addressed most of them. But you had stated that there's some questions missing. Well, I would like to help
It's
you,
gonna
so,
happen.
well, again, you said there's.
I know he says on the end that he might be on our side. And that might be true.
So do you guys want to take my
If they
card?
think it's best for the city, they're gonna do it. Whether it affects just one street or not, who cares? That's just how it goes.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to get a card from you three and him, which he's probably not elected, he's hired. You three are-
We're not elected either.
You can take a few of those.
No, sir.
I know more.
I'm a
How do you
citizen.
get those positions?
I'm donating my time just like you could if you wanted to.
What's that?
You could donate your time also if you wanted. I'm just saying, you could.
We normally have committee positions open at the first of the year.
But there's city council.
Yeah.
In November.
That's just, you knew how adamant we were on this street about how we didn't want that to happen. And you did it anyway.
Like the council.
They don't care.
The notification.
Man, I'm not telling you these two are starting now. Okay, I think we've pretty much established the fact that you're all against this. There's no doubt about that in our minds, okay? The fact still remains, it's the purpose of this committee and this hearing is basically to go over the facts of their application and determine if they meet our zoning codes, which staff has done extensive research through this. Like Mr. Bridge said, this thing is like 300 and some pages is the total application with all the reports and everything. They've gone through every bit of that. They've assured us that this does meet the zoning codes. We haven't brought up any concerns that would say that it doesn't. I mean, I understand, I think all three of us understand your concerns. We have the same concerns over a lot of these things. I mean, I'm like Mr. Leisure, I'm not thrilled with this, okay? By no means am I thrilled with this, but as a member of this board and as a member of council, I've made an oath to uphold our ordinances, and that's what I have to do on this board and as a city council member. You know, I can have the same concerns you do. I can be against something 100%, but if it's legal within our codes, I have no choice but to vote.
And that's my issue right there. I'm not even going to lie. I am 100% against it. I'm not going to lie, but it meets the code. That's a problem for me. You know, I've been squirming over here the whole time. You know, I don't like hearing all this.
But I think you guys, since you don't live there, you're a little more easily to let it just slide. Just don't care, like it doesn't really matter that much.
I'll be, if I had a way of holding this up for you, I would. I'm not even going to lie to you. I would deny all this if I could.
You can, you're a council member, right?
I'm not a council member.
No, he's only a council
Where
member.
are they at?
This
This is not a city council meeting.
This is just planning
But
commission.
somebody's a councilman up there.
I am.
Where's the other person? Why is she here tonight?
Who, me? I'm just a volunteer.
They're also planning commission members.
Yeah, they're planning commission.
Well, they had to be off.
We
They was off tonight.
had it,
Council members?
No.
by charter, one person on this committee is to be a council member. The other four are residents. Okay, that's why all our charter committees are set up, is they have one representative from council normally.
I would advise, I didn't get your name in the pink pants, the soccer.
Maybe.
Let them all know, so they can come to that next council meeting.
So, Randy, I'll ask you right here in front of all these people, if this goes to council, which is going to go to council either way, whether it's to approve it or deny it, it goes to council. They all have a right, they all have an opportunity to voice their opinions to council, right?
When it comes to that point, all due respect, I don't see anything in this particular process that takes it to council next, because it's a conditional use application.
So they don't
This,
vote on it?
let me finish. This is a preliminary plan and has not been changed from preliminary. So they will need to submit a final set of plans, come back and get those approved. This is just for the permit. There's still a whole other approval of the site plan from when they actually go, we have construction drawings we still need to get through. This is like step one of many. But I don't see anything here, like the Dunkin' Donuts one, that was just a regular site plan approval. That gets immediately put to council because it's
Okay,
approving that site.
preliminary, this,
But, no, because this is a conditional use permit.
Once they get the permit,
okay, I was under the impression this was.
This is the first one we ever had.
Yeah,
This is
Okay.
the inaugural one that we had.
yeah, because I'm used to doing the final plats, which we just make a recommendation to council.
So what, how many more steps do they need before this goes to council?
They will have to submit some final drawings.
So after this, they submit final drawings, you guys will have another meeting, it goes yea or nay, then it goes to the council for final.
If they approve it as is tonight, they will go and start working on a final plan that has more definite features in it. They'll probably end up looking very similar to that.
Okay.
But then we will require some other information, especially to put in with the electrical permit.
Okay.
So, again, I'm 5 weeks into this, but I don't see anything that says a conditional use permit needs to be approved by council.
that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So
Well, no, we're just asking-
Well, I'm asking beyond the conditional use permit. I'm asking as
Okay,
you
so
know,
I-
you hear the concern out here.
Okay, so I misspoke before then that it would be at the next council meeting, it won't be.
No, this is a preliminary plat, conditional use. They still need to resubmit a final site plan and other components of that site plan as far as your electrical and all that stuff. This is just a preliminary.
Okay, thank you.
So we still need to fill this room every meeting. Yeah, no, we do. We do. So get our point across, not that it's gonna matter, but I mean, I know you're not a councilman, so you
The
want to,
councilman has the decision, I don't. If I had the decision, I'm not gonna lie, I'd make it.
he's a councilman.
Yeah, he
I
is.
want your opinion now.
My
Can
opinion,
I get your opinion? Are you gonna vote for this or against it? Or do you get to vote for it?
I just basically gave you my opinion a few minutes ago. I told you I'm not happy about this. I don't necessarily like the
So then
plan.
you're gonna vote no. So I expect when
No.
it goes to a vote, there'll be at least one no vote.
I cannot. I've taken an oath to uphold our ordinances.
Yeah,
Their application meets the provisions of our
I
ordinances,
get that.
okay?
But the studies were all done by you. You gotta think about that. On whether or not it should be
That's-
approved or not.
That's why I went
If we
online.
must have done the studies, it might have come out differently.
Well, they did them, or it was a third party hired by them?
Yes.
It's still done by them. It's probably a third party that they.
Well, I think that's why they hire a third party.
I've never once seen one so close to a residential neighborhood. Never. I drove past tons of them. Never once seen one that close to a house. Ever.
Can't say as I have either.
Never. There's gotta be a reason for that. I know that he doesn't have a say-so, he doesn't have a say-so, and he doesn't have a say-so, but they're gonna do what's best for Duke. They're not gonna do what's best for Trenton.
I have some more concrete information for you regarding the conditional use.
Okay.
If the planning commission denies the application for conditional use, such applicant may appeal the decision to their, appeal the decision denying their request to the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is our local Board of Zoning Appeals. Conditional uses here. Nothing about city council approval, however, revocation of conditional use permit. City council may revoke any conditional use permit that violates any provision of the zoning code, any written terms or conditions upon which conditional use permit was granted. So, this, if you have any modifications to it, or any applicable license, permit, regulations, or law. So by reading this, it's deductive that you guys are just looking at the permit process for the use, and then I don't know what's been communicated to do, but there are next steps as far as the site plan and then construction drawings and electrical submission. And that should just be on pace with any other.
We should just skip all that stuff.
Well,
We should just skip all that stuff? and just get to the council vote.
Well,
All that stuff's gonna get approved because it's set.
They have to go through the planning yet, so it can still be.
Well, I'm just saying, we should skip all that, because that's all gonna get approved.
The planning commission
All-
tonight could modify this and say, all right, we want you to be X amount this, or two, I mean, they could modify this, and I'll tell them that before they make their motion to approve. But if they modify it, then they would make those corrections and then come back and restart this process again. So I understand that there's a lot of concern, but there's still a lot more things to be done before this is finalized in a sense. So, that's just where we're at, and that's just, it's stated in our codes that way.
Well, I guess my last question is, I'll just come up here. You said the appeals, they have an appeals system. Is that also open to the public, or is that
Sure.
closed? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
The only meetings council ever has that aren't open to the public are executive sessions, which are very, very limited what we can even discuss in those.
Okay, thank you.
So was that voted on when you guys changed it, does that change the zoning to allow for solar? Was that voted on by the council?
We didn't change the zoning. We added an addition, the conditional
You know what I mean.
usage. Yeah, it's been industrial.
So was that the planning committee that did that, or was that the council?
Probably a
That,
combination of the two.
yeah, that would be an ordinance that would come to city council, who would refer it to the planning commission, who would review it, and then refer it back to council with the
So that was
recommendation
done
whether to approve or deny.
Back in February.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even recall. I don't think I was here
It might
that
have
time,
been
because I don't even recall hearing that.
I know, like, anytime they change their zoning,
Yeah, I
to
wasn't on
whether
that one
the
either.
text or the map,
It wasn't.
there's like
This year.
it was a 30-day waiting
Yeah,
period.
it takes-
So if it was effective February 20th, it was past February 20th.
So it would have started,
I don't know how American.
The year before.
puts their stuff in, is that past as the date is effective or past the date of the legislation in 30 days after?
yeah, because usually there's a first reading, and then sometimes it's up to a month before planning commission has another meeting. So it can take, between the two readings with council and coming to planning commission and going back, it can take up to 6 weeks to do that. And then there's a 30-day waiting period after that.
But it was an open forum where you agreed to
Yes.
do this.
So
I wasn't here then. I wasn't here that meeting. That's why I was like, I don't remember hearing that. I wasn't here.
You know, I wasn't here neither to see it. I wasn't here for that either.
I was here for a meeting where you guys discussed it. And we voiced our opinion how adamantly we didn't want these guys across the street from us. But yet, that didn't mean anything, you got zoned differently anyways. So if that happened this year, it happened.
You know, I think what they were trying to say to you earlier is at the time, at that particular time, they did not know there was going to be a plan for it to go right across the street from your house.
They said it was gonna go somewhere else.
Well, that's a big area they discussed there.
I know, but if it was going somewhere else, I'd vote for it.
We were-
I'd go there and say yes for you.
Yeah, at that point, putting that conditional use on, we didn't have a specific site. We put that conditional use on all industrial zoning within the
That
city
makes
of
you-
Trenton.
That just makes it worse to me because you guys said it was going somewhere else. You guys said more than likely it's gonna go somewhere else.
No, we did not say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I mean, I'm
We-
wrong all the time,
We
but
weren't,
I'd like to read it back.
we weren't even discussing a particular site at that point. That's what I just said.
I know, but
We
that's
put
what I
that
said. You guys
conditional
said
use
you
on
thought it
all
was gonna go
industrial
somewhere
zoning.
You thought it was gonna go somewhere else instead of right across the street
Yeah.
from where I live.
We didn't know at that point.
Then you should have said that. Somebody said, I'm not saying it was you that said it, somebody
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah, I don't remember that ever being said. I think we need to move on. I
Yeah.
think we're, you know,
Anything else
I don't
important I should
think-
stay for?
I'm sorry?
Anything else important I should stay for?
We have several other items on the agenda. You're welcome to say if you'd like. But I think we need to move on. Mr. Bridge, what else did you have for us before we take a vote?
Sorry, sir.
What else did you have for us before we make a motion?
It's about bedtime.
So it's my understanding from what you just read, if we approve this, the conditional use is approved.
The use is approved.
The use is approved. If we deny it, then it would go to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I hang on record right now.
Which would make sense, I guess.
after this, no, the decision was based off of the, hold on, planning commission shall render their decision application to the in all cases where it Do you guys approve this permitted use, and then conditional use permit to be issued by the zoning administrator anytime after 30 days following the date of the decision becomes effective. Appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals. If the Planning Commission denies an applicant's application for a conditional use, such applicant may appeal the decision denying their request to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So you deny it, the applicant can basically administrative appeal your decision to go from the BZA.
Yeah. Okay.
And the BZA, how that works is still a 5-person board appointed by council, but the Board of Zoning Appeals operates in a completely different capacity as your planning commission.
So they could turn that down tonight?
If they choose, yeah.
It was
My staff recommendation is not to do so because it is compliant against every aspect of our zoning code.
I got you.
But
Doesn't make it right.
they can decide how they want. But once they do that, then yeah, the Board of Zoning Appeals. The Board of Zoning Appeals, they have 7 or 8 standards they have to weigh. Practical difficulty. The Board of Zoning Appeals would have a hard time re-denying that application
It was slowed
based
down.
off of the submitted materials being compliant with the code. And at that point in time, if it does get approved, and then after it's set and going, the council has the ability to revoke that conditional use permit if any of the terms are not adhered to. So council will say, hey, this conditional permit use you can't do it. We're revoking it because you're not being compliant with what was discussed during the process.
But it would slow it down.
I'm not answering, I'm giving the
I mean,
facts.
I'm just waiting for the vote.
The Board of Zoning Appeals meets normally once a month. If
Is that what,
anything's been approved.
is that what you want us to do? You want us to vote against how we should vote, just to slow it down for you? Is that what you're asking me?
I honestly didn't know there was gonna be a vote. I thought we were just talking about this tonight. So, yeah, I mean, I'll wait till you guys vote on it, and then I'll.
Technically, we don't have to vote tonight. Technically, we have, what, 30 days to make a
Planning
decision,
commission
but
shall hold a public
we've
hearing on
always,
application within X 45 days of the application being filed unless otherwise agreed by the applicant. The planning commission shall make reasonable effort to substantially comply with the following standards for notice of such hearing. And then this is how you got notified. And this is something that if the citizens of Trenton don't feel it's enough time, then maybe bring it up with your council. At least 10 days before such hearing, we do the public notice, city website, or publish at least once in the newspaper of general circulation, so we do put it on the website. And then we have to give notice to property owners within 400 feet of the perimeter of the parcel of interest, which is why I said if you live anywhere around that X amount of feet, you got that letter. So if you got that letter, you're within 400 feet of any parcel.
I still don't
of
have
this.
I was on vacation.
And
We're
then,
interrupting.
however,
Quit interrupting.
He's looking and talking to me.
He's explaining things and you're just saying things. Quit interrupting.
Okay.
It says, however, any failure to send, post, or receive any of the notices set forth therein shall not be a basis for denying the application for conditional use, nor shall it be for reversing or voiding a decision of any planning commission. So when you look at governments, your small local governments, namely, say, you have your main board, there's your planning commission, and you have your BZA, and you got Parks and Rec board, all that good stuff. The planning commission and your BZA are the most attended, because they deal with projects like this or variances against our existing code. For example, if they wanted to be 25 feet closest to a residential, they would seek a variance off that. The BZA would be like, no, we're not going to grant you that because you're dealing with residential and you need to be at least 50. However, the point I'm trying to make is this is the most transparent level of government boards you're going to have. This is the only 2 boards that require any notification before they meet. The BZA has to do mailing, the planning board has to do mailings, and they are directly mailed to people who are impacted by that decision. So we generally like to have some leeway because sometimes an application is not submitted. We have, in this case, a large volume of data And this was a very unique conditional use application, just based off the volume and use itself. And we knew it was going to be a little bit contested with the newly created zone and use, and quite frankly, understandably, if I lived across the street from it, I'd be on the other side of the table too. But unfortunately, we're just doing what we need to do. But again, this level is the most transparent. So pay attention to the mailers. I'm personally the one who put them in the mail. I put the envelopes on there. I have a list of, I think I kept the list, I'm pretty sure I did, of where it went. But just pay attention to that mail, pay attention to those mailers. I know that sometimes I get stuff in my city I don't see or overlook. It's common. But I just want to reiterate, this is the most transparent level that you can get out of your local government. And I know these guys do a good job at looking at stuff and ethically and honestly. And even though their personal opinions and my personal opinion may not agree with it, they're set to vote within a guideline and code established by the city council. So hopefully that clears things up. The BZA and planning board usually require that 10 days, but that 10 day can be difficult sometimes, just based off the size of the application. But there is a minimum that we do have to meet, and we met that by mailing out those applications. So again, if you want anything changed, you can really start with the city council. Ready?
Yep.
May I ask one last question?
One last one, then we're gonna move on.
So you'd mentioned sorry, I was listening to you and trying to understand that. I lost the exact phrasing I had in my question. But you mentioned that we go from here and then we'll go to multiple extra steps, so proposals, as this is only the first planning phase. Is under like the city law or the state law, I'm not too educated on that. I try to keep myself up to date, but is there any way that amendments can be made to the proposed or the use of that zoning law in between, or would it be set in stone where it was proposed? So could there be more changes made to that, say instead of the 50-foot setback to make it further back in the field, or would that already kind of be said and done? Is there anything that they can do, or the council or the community can do to try to change the details of the zoning?
You would have to go through the process.
That's what I'm asking.
To change it like they did with establishing 1258-17. It starts with the council. There's multiple ways someone can put an amendment in. Citizen can do it, quite honestly. It's under chapter 1250 of our amendments. I wish I had the ability to pass this, but I do not. But when you go home, go to city codes, and it's not a big section at all. I can probably summarize it for you. Do you mind, Mr. President?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So when you do amendments to the zoning map and zoning text, two different things. Your zoning map is your actual map that has all the nice colors on it. And then your zoning text is what this is, your zoning text, what we have right here. So when it comes to amendments to the zoning map, I want to see if it says the same thing. It does. So amendments to the zoning text or amendments to zoning maps. Who may initiate? Amendments to the zoning map or zoning code may be initiated by an application of a property owner, by recommendation of the planning commission, or by city council on its own initiative. So those are your three ways to do it. A lot of the times it's through your own governing boards, but the applicant does have the opportunity to request amendment to the zoning map and text. All proposals for amendment of the zoning map made by any party shall be on the form approved by the zoning administrator to collect information and monitor the process. So those who can do it, and then it goes down to tell you the procedures. So this may be a little bit confusing to some people because it's going to mention this in two different sections of the ordinances. One is 1250.03, which is procedures that deal with this particular section. But there's also something in our city charter under section 3.05 that allows the council to read it, immediately pass it to them, and then they go back. So it's a little bit of different if it's done under the charter versus this aspect of it. But it basically says that. I mean, there's timelines once the person submits the application. The proposed ordinance, map, staff comments, and any other pertinent documentation shall be promptly submitted to the planning commission for review, giving the commission a reasonable time, but not less than 30 days to review the proposal and its report from recommendation to the city council. And then this gets extensive, but it is all timed out. It's step oriented. Highly encourage everyone to look at 1250. If you want, you can take my card, I can summarize this for you, we can go through it together. But it's the same steps, it's planning commission, city council, and usually anytime that you do an amendment to your code or your map, there's automatically a 30-day waiting period. So, that is probably, say, I know council's gonna be voting on some ordinances, I think on November 6th regarding some, district stuff. And that has a 30-day waiting period, so that would follow the same thing as that. So during that 30-day waiting period, then you can referendum, because it is once council approves an ordinance, citizens can initiate a referendum based off what type of ordinance that was and what it was consistent of. So with that, I would just say, seek your little legal advice and kind of look at our code for that process. But the citizens and local government across this great country have a lot more power than they realize if they would just sit down with someone who understands the code and then actually take a look at the code itself. No one wants to read code. It's very boring stuff.
I do it for a living.
You know, so, but there's so many answers within what we have already established that there's always remedies for the citizens.
I said one last question, so I will leave it at that. Thank you.
You got my card, sir? Yeah.
Is that what you were asking?
Yes, the only additional point on that, if I may, I don't want to be disrespectful, was if we went that route as proposed and it passed, would that still apply to this particular zoning, not zoning, what was the name of the permit that they were using again? I'm sorry. Conditional use. Would it still apply to this, or would it only apply to future projects?
Depends on who gets to the finish line first. So let's just say they go through the process first.
That's why I brought my wife's card.
And that's the easiest way to put it, but if their stuff is approved, and then the amendments to the conditional use permit come after that, they're now grandfathered in, similar to what I said about that agricultural field being changed up. So unless they do any major alterations or repair, then they can keep it what it was. The moment they change anything, they have to bring it up to current standards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've beat this about enough for tonight. I will accept a motion to approve, deny, or modify the conditional use application.
I'll make the motion.
To approve, deny, or
Yeah.
modify.
I guess approve it.
Okay. Mr. Mello has made a motion to approve the conditional use application. I'll second it.
So we got first by
Mr. Mello?
Mr. Mello, and a second by Mr. Nichols.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Leisure,
Yay.
you say yay or nay?
Yay, unfortunately, yes, yay.
Mr. Mello,
Yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
passes 3-0.
Okay, next item on the agenda, and hopefully these will be a lot quicker. An ordinance amending.
That was the hard, man, that's hard. That's hard.
I know, same way with me, it was hard, but
An ordinance amending section 1248.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Trenton, Ohio. Mr. Bridge.
yeah, it was like, either way, I never knew. I can't get it.
Like I said, I didn't want it to be.
No, I figured it's gotta go through council anyway, so, you know.
I'm sorry? Yeah, go ahead.
So on the agenda, items 2, 3, 4, and 5, forgive me, I'm just public, is it all right if we just do like the overview and then each amendment, we don't have to review everything.
Sure.
All under the same explanation. The city's current zoning code does not include a district specifically designed for large-scale technology or infrastructure-based developments. The proposed amendment creates a new infrastructure and technology district, or IT district, to define and regulate these uses within a clear framework. The district provides modern standards for advanced manufacturing, data and research facilities, and utility-related projects, distinguishing it from the existing residential zones. It also ensures that new technology-driven development occurs in the appropriate areas while maintaining compatibility with surrounding land uses and environmental standards. The amendment also supports the Trenton 2050 Comprehensive Plan, advancing goals for sustainable land use, diversification of local economy, and long-term job creation. It modernizes the city's approach to industrial growth while promoting environmental responsibility. Several sections of the zoning code, 1248.01, 1252.17, 1264.02, and 1264.06, are being updated to establish a new district and incorporate related standards such as noise and emission controls. This is a text-only amendment. No site plan, elevations, or landscaping or traffic studies apply at this stage. Under City Charter Section 3.05, the ordinance was referred to the Planning Commission after its first reading, and a public hearing before City Council is scheduled for November 6, 2025. The city staff finds proposal consistent with the city's long-term planning goals and recommends a positive recommendation to council.
Okay. Any questions?
How do we word that again?
It is
Information technologies,
technology district.
Information Technology District.
basically data centers.
Data centers, right. You're gonna get us in hot water again, ain't you?
I'll be right here with you.
Smiling too, right?
I mean, it's another one that people are not for. You know. No site plan for the district, no ideas or anything, no plans, nobody getting ready to build one tomorrow or.
No, I think it's just really just amending that code to allow for that district.
Okay. And there's not even an area site, we're not even going to establish where this is allowed at or anything yet.
I think that, I don't know the history on this, that was just kind of thrown. Again, it's pretty standard for cities to do it like this.
Right, I get it.
Then, kind of allocate that after the fact. But I do know it impacts 1248.01, 1264.02, and that ripple effect. So when we look at why they're not doing anything yet, because they're just really putting it in text form. So, and from what I can tell, they're just kind of adding some of it on to the industrial already there. So I don't know if it's going to be like an overlay, but at this stage, this is typically how it comes across.
Right, I get that, but there's no current plan for a data center.
Let me interrupt for just a second. I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we table these until the next meeting. Staff may not like that recommendation, but I, in good conscience, cannot let this discussion go forward at this point with that question being asked and not being able to be answered.
I can respect that. I'll make a motion to table these issues until the next meeting.
The planning commission?
Yes.
Yes.
And if need be, we can have a special meeting if we need to do this before regular scheduled meeting next month.
Did the city council talk about this at that last meeting with this? Were you present at that meeting? I know they already did their first reading on it.
Well, I believe it's public record at this point that we have sold acreage in our industrial park to a company that deals with data centers. We have no applications for site permits or anything
Because I think
officially
I
filed.
think that applicant may be
Okay.
looking for this to occur prior, similar to how this process unfolded too.
Exactly.
And, well, not the applicant followed the rules of the code, I would assume. But again, the applicant, the city council can make that initiative too. But I do know it's a very important amendment to our code, and I do know it's, we probably have an ripple impact for sure. But there's nothing here that would indicate, other than amendments to the current language, to allow a district in that sense. So it's not a zoning map amendment, zoning text, but I would encourage people, the commission, to kind of look at, when you look at the thing, they did establish a new district, and there probably something will be changes. I mean, that's a given in the future. But there's nothing in here that would, if the commission would make the recommendation to council to approve as is, that would have no detrimental impact because they followed the same process they did. And then any new information, which may or may not come as a result of it, we'll go through the process that we've done here.
Okay.
You know, but as far as like notifications and all that was compliant. And I don't see anything, honestly and respectfully, to table it, but that is commission's decision, 100%.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mr. Leisure, are you okay with proceeding based on the information I was able to give that there has been property sold to a company?
Yeah, I'm comfortable proceeding with that, yeah.
Okay. As long as-
I just want to make sure it's
I
out
just
there.
wanted to make sure your question was answered
My question was answered, yeah.
to your satisfaction. Okay. Okay, we'll proceed then. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Now I entertain a motion to approve deny, or modify the proposed request. And I guess we need to do this for all three since they're actually different sections. So this would be for section 1248.01, which actually, I believe that section actually creates the district. Is that correct?
Yes, it's right here in Exhibit A, and it's in with Industrial Park District, General Industrial Districts, and Infrastructure Technology.
Yeah, okay.
So that one, they are changing the zoning on, because they're creating that district.
Right.
We haven't signed it.
Right, but
And that district's still part of the industrial district?
Yes,
Gotcha.
Infrastructure and Technology.
it's like there's, like you have, you know,
Right.
residential, you have four different,
Right.
basically
I
four
get you.
different levels, yeah. I'll make a motion that we approve the request for section 1248.01.
I'll second the motion.
So first by Chair, President, Mr. Nichols.
Yes.
And second by Mr. Leisure.
Yes. Roll call, please.
Mr. Melo,
Oh, yay, yay.
Mr. Nichols,
Yay.
Mr. Leisure.
Yay.
Passes 3-0.
Okay. Next is a motion to amend section 1264.02.
Which part
Can
is
you
that?
go over that one real quick for us? I know I read through these before, but we don't have them in front of us right this moment.
So this 1264.02 details noise, and that's under our noise regulations, which required that study they did. There are existing A, B, C, D, and E exemptions, if I can read that for the record, if you so choose.
I don't think that's necessary. I think
Okay.
we've had this information and looked over it. We just don't have it in front of us this
And
second.
then
Correct.
what we are adding is the emergency generators and backup power systems located in the IG or ID district during testing, maintenance, and emergency operations. That's the new part of this particular section.
Yeah, okay. Entertain a motion to approve this section.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a first by Mr. Melo, a second by Commission Chair Nichols.
Yes, roll call, please.
Mr. Leisure?
Yay.
Mr. Melo?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Passes 3-0.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a motion to approve, deny, or modify section 1264.06. Give us a quick overview of that one.
This amendment, it takes the existing sound, this has to do with maximum decibels as well. All we did was change the language up here to include infrastructure technology district. Nothing in the chart was changed. It's really just a change by title.
Just clerical, basically.
Yep.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
We have a first by Chair President Nichols, second by Mr. Leisure, Vice Chair. Mr. Melo?
Yay.
Mr. Leisure?
Yay.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Passes 3-0.
Item 4, an ordinance establishing section 1252.17.
This is a new addition, so this will be added in its entirety. And this is the permitted uses, accessory uses, et cetera, for items allowed in IP district.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Was that a second by Mr. Melo?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Mr. Melo?
Yay.
Mr. Leisure?
Yay.
Passes 3-0.
Okay, that's the end of our agenda items. Date of the next meeting will be March 10th, 2025.
It's a little late, since 2025
Wait, what?
is here now.
That was my bad. I
That
didn't
would-
see that on.
Yeah, that would be, oh, I read it, didn't realize it. It's getting,
Go back,
it's
eh?
almost not bedtime.
That was my mistake.
Wait,
There's always one thing you missed, like, even though you look at it
March
like that.
10th.
And we'll probably end up having a meeting long before that, I would guess, with all that's going on.
It sounded like it, huh?
Yeah.
Do you want to set it for the normal date and then amend it later if we have to? Did you meet the third Mondays of each month?
Normally second, but
Second?
Yeah.
that's why we're missing 2 members tonight, because the second Monday this month was a holiday.
Yeah, it fell on Columbus
And threw our
Day.
schedule off, and they had other commitments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
The 10th?
Oh, so.
What is it?
Right?
The 5th?
November 10th?
November 10th? Oh, you did have the day right, huh?
Yeah. No, I paid attention. That was just fun.
Hey, it happens.
Okay, good. November 10th, 2025. Yeah, that sounds better.
There you go.
I just read through that, didn't even realize it. Like I said, it's almost my bedtime.
We'll catch it next time in the minutes.
Yeah.
We'll correct in the minutes.
Do you have anything else this evening, Mr. Mellon?
Not have anything.
Mr. Leisure?
I think I'm good.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
First by Melo and second by Leisure.
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nichols?
Yay.
Mr. Leisure?
Yay.
Mr. Mello?
Yay.
We're adjourned at 9:32. What a first meeting.
Overtime.
Thank you for everybody being here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Lord.
Yeah, almost my bedtime. So I take my wife, she said, I'm going to bed.